Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah.
Here's what I need to do real quick.
I'm gonna watch now. Here I am.
Alright. I'm gonna actually change the stream name before we get started.
It's already started though, Simon.
Well, you could change it midway.
Oh, what jersey are you wearing today?
I had to rock the Cam Newton jersey.
Hey, okay. That's a little bit of a callback. I see you.
It is. Yeah, it is. Boom. There you go.
I'm wearing my Avs jersey for when neither of them play for the Colorado Avalanche.
Well, neither play hockey either, so congratulations. You missed on both.
Yep. I have played myself.
All right. Okay. What's good, y'all? Here. Well, as always, giving a minute for a couple people to make it into the stream, but for our YouTube viewers, hello. I'm one of your co-hosts, Simon Villanoz, aka Coach V.
I'm your other co-host for today, Kodey Stauffer. Way to stick the landing there, Simon.
Thank you. And today we got a pretty special episode here. Look, audio-wise, I don't know how this is going to translate. I mean, well, it's going to be there, so it's going to be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts if you're listening to this. But I'm just going to go ahead and recommend that you close that. And, whenever you have the time, go to our YouTube channel at Playmakers Corner or our Twitch at Playmakers Corner and watch the thing. Because I think this will be a lot more entertaining if you do, because we're gonna be reacting to film, and this is our first live film breakdown here of two quarterbacks that we know pretty well as well. So this way, if we make any mistakes live, well, we know these guys anyways, and they're great players as well. And so I'm just gonna throw that out there. But if you do want to continue listening, I mean, if it's more easier, or I don't know, just easier for you to just listen to it and not watch it, that's fine. But we are going to go over some clips and react to them, and and a bunch of stuff too. So yeah,
I'm gonna just put this out there to the audience. I have had a runny nose since yesterday, so don't mind me if I'm blowing my nose. Just
perfect.
Watch the film.
Yeah, there you go. We should probably do a couple announcement stuff while we're still waiting for people to get up in here real quick. So, women's flag football. We released two interviews yesterday, Wednesday, February 16th. That's the Caitlin Sigmund and Emma Balako interview. Go ahead and check those out. Honestly, some of my favorite interviews that I've ever got to conduct. Both of those girls are excellent athletes. They are going to make a little state title run of their own here going into their senior year. Plus, they have a very bright football future as well. So go ahead and tune into that. We, like I said, are going to cover NAIA women's flag football. We didn't do it this week because of the interviews, but we will come back next week with kind of a recap of the first 2 weeks of that college football season. I'm kind of stumbling over my words, so this is a good deal to get out right now. But it'll be a good deal next week. I think we are gonna do a live stream of that, and so basically it's just gonna be me, probably Kodey, and then we're just gonna go down the line, game by game, talk about him, stats, players, storylines, all that great stuff. By next week, I think everyone, well, not everyone, but at least one or two teams from each of the major conferences, the KCAC and then the Sun Conference, would have played a game. So there's going to be a lot to talk about. And there already is, especially after last night's game, where someone made Sports Center's top 10 plays and was number one over the Nuggets buzzer beater, which I thought was pretty funny and great as well, because she definitely deserved it. And golly, Kennedy Foster, that's the name you got to look out for. Kodey, is there anything you want to add on here announcement-wise before we hop into this?
Well, obviously, tune into our women's and girls flag football episodes anytime we do that. We have more content coming out for you in that department, so just stay tuned. And then Mason, Austin, and I are doing a Best of the Rest series on Fridays and Mondays, excluding this Friday, obviously, for the DJ and Beckham breakdowns. But Mason released interior offensive linemen on Monday. I released the Best of the Rest running backs on the Friday before that. And Mason has offensive tackles in the wings for Monday, best of the rest as well. So maybe some names that you didn't get to hear full breakdowns on during our top 5 senior lists, you're going to hear them on those episodes. So for all of our Colorado football fans and people tuning into this episode, be on the lookout for those.
Well, there you go. All right. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into this with a little bit of an intro here. So, on this live stream, we got 2 players. On some live streams, we might do more, but I really want to make sure that, we get these film breakdowns right, because these 2 players are extremely talented. They're probably I'll just say it right here. They're the future of Colorado football as is, if I'm being completely honest here. One is a class of 25 kiddo. The other is a class of 2026 kiddo. And so that is Bekkem Kritza and DJ Bordeaux. Let's go ahead and fast forward last year. Christmas, or actually, wait a second. 2021. 2020, Christmas Day. Not the first request episode, but the second request episode ever. I broke down the film of DJ Bordeaux. He was the first ever middle schooler that we broke down film for. And then actually, basically this time last year, it was February 10th, 2021, we would break down his boy Beckham Kritsa's film as well. And he would be part of a couple middle schoolers film breakdowns that we would do. The second ever after DJ's, by the way. And so fast forward basically a whole year for DJ. Almost, it's kind of crazy now, but a year and a couple months, some change there. A lot has happened. Both of these boys have lit it up this last season here, have garnered some college interest. I feel like I could definitely say that. And they're not even sophomores yet. Beckham Kritsa, he's a freshman right now. DJ Bordeaux, he is an 8th grader right now. And so on this episode live stream, we're going to break down their film. But first, we're going to start and talk about kind of the first breakdown we did, because I think that is fitting. So here, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on the screen here. So we're going to start with Bekkem Kritsa because he is the older one here. I think they can see that. Oh, well, they could see most of it right here. I'll just adjust that. But we're going to start with Beckham, like I said. And so this is episode 24. I know you can't see the rest of it, but it's Playmakers Corner, episode 24, Colorado Middle School Quarterback. So if you want to fact check us, go for it. But, I already did it myself. So, you could either believe me or you could go back and check it. But, a couple extra listens never hurt anybody. And so if you want to go ahead and check it out, go for it. But on this episode, we did break down Bekkem Kritsa. He was actually the first player we broke down here. Let me scroll a little bit here. Here's his timestamp right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of read out some of the things that we made a point of making. And I just want to say that Kodey and I were both on this episode. So naturally, there's more that Kodey and I had to talk about, critique and whatnot, than in DJ's breakdown, where it was just me, And so this will also be a good opportunity for Kodey to kind of get his opinions on DJ Bordeaux out there, at least publicly. But let's go ahead and start with Bekkem Kritsa. So let's start with the positives here. The things we really liked about Bekkem Kritsa, the quarterback, by the way, over at Fairview High School right now in Boulder. But we said he has great balance. He's really hard to bring down, despite, being 6'4", 160, 170, listed at 180, but we both didn't really believe that. But for kind of a lankier quarterback, he was really hard to bring down, and that was something we made a note of. He broke a lot of tackles in the backfield, extending plays, and that's something we really like to see there. Another thing we really like, we said he had pretty good touch on his passes and could accurately hit receivers downfield. Like, we're talking deep throws here. So, posts, verticals, verts, all that great stuff. Stogos. So there you go. There we said he's a pretty tough football player, especially on runs. There were a couple quarterback dives, quarterback powers there that we liked. I mean, that's just toughness. Some quarterbacks, they don't like getting hit, and you could tell. Beckham, he don't care. As long as he's winning and scoring and the team's doing well, he's going to find a way to get it done. So there you go. Those are the things we really liked about Beckham here. The things that were most enticing, I would probably say, is his frame, for sure. I mean, an 8th grader that is 6'4", I mean, how often are you going to see that, especially at the quarterback position? That is pretty dang good. And for somebody to, run a pretty open offense, I would say, as well. We did say they kind of ran a little bit more of some spread concepts when he was in middle school. We said that would probably help him out going on to the next level, and we didn't know this at the time, but we projected him to go to Fairview High School, which, if you're from Colorado, is notorious for having the most lethal passing offense in the state, and I don't think it's really that close. The last couple, I mean, you could fact check it if you want, but the last couple years, except for maybe Liam O'Brien's year, but the last 4 or 5 years, they've had 3,000-yard passers and 3 different quarterbacks. So, at least, so they're about it. They have a very good system out there that's very quarterback friendly. At least, once you get used to it and whatnot. So yeah. Now, some things that we wanted to see him work on. Number one, we wanted to see him get stronger. I don't know if it was you or... No, it was you, Kodey. You said this. He kind of has a little bit of a loop type of release, like a little bit of a wind-up in his release and whatnot. And I said, just commenting on that, is that I feel like he's doing that to kind of compensate for arm strength a little bit there. And plus also he's kind of... he's a very slim 160, 170, and so we just wanted to see him get stronger so that he could push that ball farther down the field, take some bigger hits, and then when he's scrambling as well, he has a little bit more muscle to rely on, because he is a guy that can move relatively well, at least agility-wise, so there you go. I said, hold up. I said we can see him throw slants and outs, but I wanted to see him make more over-the-shoulder throws, so like fades, corners, that type of stuff there. Really use that sideline and whatnot. So that was something that we commented on. Kodey, you said you wanted to see him throw more post routes with him splitting safeties. We'll see a lot of that, actually, in this film that we're about to watch. And Kodey, you also said you wanted to see him kind of hang in the pocket a little bit more and deliver instead of bailing. And so what that means is, like, instead of like just scrambling straight up out right or out left, I mean, like, stick in the pocket, take a hit and deliver a throw. I mean, we know he has the toughness to do it, and so that's kind of just that next level there at being a quarterback. You don't always have to scramble all the way right or left, and that's basically just discipline there. So yeah. And then, Kodey, you want me to talk about outlook here? This is the only outlook that we're going to talk about, so...
Yeah, well, first off, I'm going to just shout out EPO football in the chat, and both of these quarterbacks train at EPO, so go ahead and check them out on social medias and whatnot, and they release some videos of their off-season workouts for an inside look at what Beckham and DJ do in between football seasons to get ready. But Simon, this outlook we were a little incorrect on, isn't that right?
I don't think we were incorrect. I mean, with the film that we had, I thought it was fair. Because I looked back at his 8th grade film in preparation for this live stream, and I was like, well, I mean, we're not wrong. Like, it's not like we were way out of there. But basically, I said, first off, Beckham Kritsa, first year, freshman year, focus on yourself, right? No offense to everyone else, but focus on yourself, right? Get stronger, get bigger, do all that great stuff. Continue to work on your mechanics. That's footwork. That's, your releases. Knowing the playbook as well, because they run the spread out there. It's a complicated offense. It's not an easy offense to pick up. So that's what I said. First year, focus on yourself, whether that's on JV or as a freshman, That way, when you're ready to step, or, when you get your opportunity to step up and play, you're ready. You're ready. Because there were definitely some things that we saw and we were like, he needs to clean it up. He needs to get a little bit better there. Kodey, you said there's a possibility that he gets snaps as a sophomore, But honestly, depending on where his strength is going to decide where when he's going to start, is what you said. And so we were definitely relying on that strength aspect and kind of just developing because Beckham Kritsa, I mean, I think a lot of people, I mean, they look at him now, they're like, oh, number one freshman passer and whatnot, all these touchdowns, offered as a freshman from, the University of Colorado, already a D1 guy. I think a lot of people look at that and they kind of forget where he came from. Because when he was first starting out, I mean, look, dude was a skinny 6'4" kid with an arm. Touch, by the way. He's not just some, guy just kind of hucking it up there and then his receivers make a play. Like, no, he's he was a 6'4" quarterback with a lot of potential. And so the way we saw Beckham here, we're like, okay, develop, right? First off, Fairview's offense isn't easy to learn. If anything, it's the most complicated offense in Colorado from a quarterback perspective. And so I think that's where we were coming from. Like, hey, take your time and whatnot. Learn the offense. Master the offense. You don't want to rush this because if you rush it, then, I mean, you're going to be out there with 5 receivers. One of them's open, but because you don't know the offense well enough and, pair that with, reading the defense and whatnot, then you're just going to keep getting sacked out there knowing that receivers are getting open, which is frustrating. And so that's kind of where we were coming from. We looked at Beckham and we were like, hey, he kind of needs to clean up some mechanical things here and there. And then, it comes down to the mental aspect, which played a very big role in our projections here. And, I mean, well, here, Kodey, let me ask you, do you think that was fair, what we said about Beckham in that first evaluation? In my opinion, I think it was plenty fair.
Oh, absolutely. I think that, our concerns were obviously validated and backed up by the film and by our knowledge of Fairview and everything like that. And, I mean, the thing, though, that I will say about Beckham is we talked to him about this. He listened to our episode, this episode 24, and he focused on the things that you and I kind of talked about. Not to mention that he also grew a couple of inches, too, I think, before he even started, when he eventually started as a freshman. So, when you work on the things that we talk about and the things that we point out and take it seriously, that's going to help you land in positions like Beckham, where he was able to start as a freshman on a varsity squad.
And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I mean, they had a good backup out there in Rowan Risler, who's doing his thing with the Ducks, by the way. He's a very quality player. A guy that in my opinion, I saw his film as well about the same time as Beckham. I'm like, I could see him starting just as much as I could see Beckham starting. But the thing with Rowan is that I kind of felt like he had, at the time, some smoother, mechanics here and there. Other than that, I mean, it's basically, it would have been a sophomore versus a freshman. Who do you want to build with, right? Moving up and whatnot. And I mean, look, we did give Beckham a lot of praise, though. I mean, he had potential. We talked about his ceiling, and we said that he could potentially be one of the best quarterbacks that we talked about in this film breakdown class here. And by the way, we did break down his film with Cherry Creek's Brady Vodka, as in he will be, or he's at Cherry Creek right now, but he'll be at Cherry Creek as a freshman next year. And then Trent Seaboard, who's in Alabama. Basically, he's going to be going to Thompson High School, which is a powerhouse in the entire country. And so, Cherry Creek, Thompson High School. Quarterback, they're going to be quarterbacks of both. I mean, look, for us to say that he had the most potential out of those two guys, it's putting some respect on his name, and he put in the work. We got to give him a lot of credit here. Like, he put in a lot of work and took it to heart and really grinded and did his thing. And, I got to give him a lot of respect for that, man, because, I mean, this dude, his work ethic was unmatched is what I heard for the most part here. And so that is very, very good to hear. Okay. Now, that was last year, before his freshman year. Kodey, I just want to give you one more chance to talk about it. Is there anything else you want to talk about, as far as Beckham Kritsa and last year, his 8th grade year, or evaluation last year before we talk about high school?
I mean, with Beckham, I think Beckham was the one that I probably knew the least about heading into the film evaluation of these three quarterbacks. Like I'd heard of Brady, and I definitely heard of Trent. Shout out to Glovework for putting me on that Seaborn train. But I'd say that I evaluated him in comparison to these guys and knew that he was the closest to high school, and so I kept that very in mind while evaluating his film. But I mean, we both had a feeling that he was at least a JV starting kind of quarterback, even heading into a freshman year in our defense. So, I think that was a fair valuation of the time, and also just like you said, want to shout him out for putting in that work, and you could see some of the things that we talk about and how he addressed those as we get ready to watch his freshman year film. Simon, do you want me to talk about stats from his freshman year before or after his film?
You could talk about it before, but also one last note I forgot to say. We did say Beckham Kritsa on this team is probably a 2 or 3 year starter. On any other team in Colorado, he's a starter as a freshman. We said that word for word. You could take a look. It's near the end of his film breakdown there. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Ironically enough, we said that Valor Christian could use a quarterback like Bekkem Kritsa. And,
well,
you know what?
Leave it there.
Hey, Coach, congrats on your job down in Texas. I know my boys are very excited to play you down there. So there you go. But, yeah, Kodey, go ahead. Bekkem Kritsa, he did end up going to Fairview High School in Boulder. Started his entire freshman year. I believe he hit sevens with Fairview as well during the summer. So, he got some experience with them. And obviously, going into the season, you had the senior 3-star athlete, Grant Page, was committed to Nebraska at the time, flipped to CU. Congrats to him, by the way. And then, he had a couple other young receivers there as well. So it wasn't like he was entering the situation with no weapons at all. But, Kodey, go ahead and talk about his stats and kind of like the overall, arching, storyline, I guess, of his freshman year here.
So, well, first off, shout out to, Jordan Rochelle out there at Fairview, another dynamic freshman that Beckham got past to. And also shout out to Ben Anderson, very useful slot kind of guy who got by with pretty precise route running is how he was able to contribute to this Fairview team. But anyways, this year was a wild one for our boy Beckham here, and one that ended a little too short, in my opinion, unfortunately. But talking about it, Simon, Mason, as well as occasional guest, Liam Hughes, actually made it out to the very first game here against Boulder High School. First off, beautiful setting watching that game, the sun setting in the Flatirons. You got some trees around the stadium. It's a phenomenal stadium, and I am going to watch more games there this year for sure. But anyways, talking about this opening game, we knew that Beckham was the starter heading into the game. We at least knew that. We were informed on that. And we had seen him work out prior to this, I want to say. And so we head into this game. We're not really sure what to expect. We know it's the crosstown rivalry, who's still running the town of Boulder. It's a big game. You already have the Boulder. It's packed, by the way. Both stands are full. Boulder stands are chanting overrated at Beckham, knowing that it's a big time freshman coming in. And Beckham takes care of business in this game, to say the least, going 27 for 39 for a cool 328 yards and 3 touchdowns to no interceptions. I will note in that game that there were missed opportunities for picks for Boulder, so you do have that going. But at the time of watching that game, Simon, Mason, and I were kind of thinking, hey, this is only a sneak peek at what could possibly be. And, it was an electric way to start a career. A QBR of 120.5 is always a pretty good day. And it was a very exciting environment as Beckham and this Fairview offense just continued to pour on the points. The defense was playing well. And you could see that Beckham to Grant Page connection working fully early on in the game. And him hitting a variety of routes, which, we'll see here in this clip in just a moment. But following that, they do up the competition quite a bit and do travel down. So, even though this game was technically, I believe like Boulder was the home team or whatever, they share the stadium. So it was a home game for Fairview no matter what. This next week, they traveled down to Castle Rock. So this is Beckham's first road game. And he struggled a little bit in this game, mainly in the incompletion status. Castleview's defense, especially this early in the season, look, you have Herschel Craig III. He's an incredible pass rusher and also somebody who can drop back into coverage. They had a pretty decent athletic cornerback there at the time who matched up fairly well with Grant Page, as well as most cornerbacks could possibly hope to. And they had themselves, a pretty decent linebacking core. And I think that the thing that caught Fairview and Beckham even by surprise a little bit was just the physicality of this team. They were very aggressive on defense. They hit hard, and that's something that, we eventually saw later in the year in their, playoff game against another kind of hard-nosed team, Castleview that is. And, I think that caught Fairview a little bit off guard as they did drop this game 21-38. Beckham, he did throw 3 touchdowns to 1 interception, but he did complete only half of his passes, which was, I believe, his lowest completion percentage all year. Yeah, in that game, it was his lowest, going 24-48, which, holy cow, in his second game, he was almost throwing 50 pass attempts. And this isn't even the most that he throws all year. So that's another thing to kind of keep an eye on for Beckham's arm as we go through the season. But, they go 1-1. The next week, he still throws for 300 yards. He throws for 300 yards in basically every game this year, at least half of them. And so he throws for 300 yards. They get a win over Grand Junction Central. He doesn't throw a touchdown. He throws a pick. This is definitely a weaker program and team, I will say. So, they get back on the winning road. Then they get a matchup against Prairie View. And this was Beckham's best game of the entire year. Statistically speaking, 21 of 31, 355 yards, 67.7% completion percentage, 5 touchdowns to no interceptions, 145.8 rating as they just drub Prairie View here to get out to a 3-1 start. And, I'm looking at their success here. I know what Beckham has to offer. I know this offensive line. I'm like, this is a potential conference winner. And Simon and I, even in the previews, talked about as, maybe a dark horse kind of contender was this Fairview squad. And then they kind of, they run into some complications here. I was at the Chaparral game, and this is the game where Grant Page tore his ACL before the first half even concluded. And you could tell that was a huge swing of momentum, not necessarily in Chaparral's favor, but it was a huge gut punch for this Fairview offense. And it was kind of a somber mood in the entire stadium and even on the sidelines that kind of radiated up. And I think that energy and just losing a player who had done so much for this Fairview squad on both sides of the ball kind of sucked the wind out of them as they fell to this Chaparral team where Kylan Wilson had an incredible game. And, they just found a lot of success on the ground. And in that game, Beckham still throws 1 touchdown to 1 interception. And I'll talk a little bit more film-wise of what I saw from that later. But, they have that they have that loss to Chaparral in a game that I think they could have won at full strength. And then the next week they have Legacy, and this is where they begin league play, I believe. And Legacy had a phenomenal secondary out there with Braylon Tate was playing some safety. He was running back who I did a breakdown on in the Best of the Rest. So go ahead and check that out. And then they also had why am I spacing on his name?
Braden Keith.
Yeah, Braden Keith. who is one of our top 5 senior cornerbacks. So go ahead and listen to that list. And Braden Keith, I mean, he basically just drapes whoever is the wide receiver opposing him, and they can't really get open. He's very physical. And so that's a tough matchup for the freshman receiver in Jordan, obviously, to try and go up against. And it's a tough matchup for Ben Anderson, who isn't a big, like, kind of physical receiver. So just this matchup was really tough. And you could see that in what was his highest amount of pass attempts up until the last week of the season, he went 27 of 51 for 268 yards and 2 picks to no touchdowns. So they're still kind of on a bit of a slide here following the Grant Page loss for the season. They're at 500. It's kind of uncertain what exactly we're going to get from Fairview for the rest of the season. But Beckham turns it around here against Rocky Mountain. This team is usually pretty prideful on its defensive ability here. And we'd seen them a little bit earlier in the season struggle against an Arapahoe defense, but maybe not an explosive Arapahoe offense. And Beckham here leads Fairview out of their 2-game slump to a 20-14 win, completing 75% of his passes on 40 pass attempts for 306 yards, 3 TDs, and 1 interception for what would be his highest QBR for the rest of the season at 111. The very next week, they win a very, very close matchup against a very potent Fossil Ridge defense that includes our number 5 edge rusher, Nathan Hallmark. And, you know, they pull out this win 25-23 by 2 points. And in this game, Beckham just plays a really clean game. You know, he doesn't do something super explosive. His long for the game of 26 yards is the shortest, like, deep pass that he has all season. But this is very promising to me looking ahead to the future because it shows that he's willing to just take what the defense gives him and kind of pick it apart. You know, going 28 of 39 for 295 yards and a touchdown with no interceptions. And an interception could have been the end of the line for this Fairview team and trying to compete for that, you know, for those playoff spots that got very rare as we get down the stretch here. Then, you know, I'd say a pretty effortless 19-33, 250 yards, and a 36-24 win over Pooter. 3 touchdowns to 1 interception. And then just losing by 5 points to Horizon in a shootout against another phenomenal freshman quarterback whose film we hope to break down in the future. But in this game, it was his highest amount of pass attempts of the year with 54 pass attempts, completing 70.4% of those for 400. Hear that again. 444 yards in this game against Horizon, and a long of 72. That was his season long as far as deep passes go, and 3 touchdowns to 1 pick and 105.8 yards. And so, you know, he leads Fairview to 3, 4, 5, 6, and 4 seasons. So a winning season his freshman year. Obviously, you got to be happy with that. You heard about all the top 5 players that he went against that we talked about. Very familiar with a lot of the talent that, you know, he did have to face. I think that part of our preseason prediction is maybe we underestimated some of these teams a little bit in our preseason prediction. But, you know, Beckham stood tall and still got some dubs against some good talent. And I think most importantly is he learned against the really, really good talent that he did have to face this year. And so overall, I mean, you've already heard this story if you pay attention to Colorado football or national football news. You know, ends the season with 22 passing touchdowns to 8 picks. So almost a 3-to-1 ratio there. 3,192 yards on 64.9% completion, an average completion of 11.9 yards, which you love to see, and a QBR of 98. Not to mention that he did add on 1 rushing touchdown in that Horizon game at the end of the year. But that's the look at the numbers. What if we take a look at the film here, Simon?
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, I got to pull it up.
Do you have any reactions to those numbers first?
Not too many. I mean, well, first off here, look, you don't get those numbers not knowing how to run a spread offense. Let's just be honest there, you know. I was very impressed that he was able to, you know, really get down, you know, this offensive scheme as fast as he did as a freshman, basically, you know. There were definitely times where he looked very comfortable throughout the season, more than others, you know. And, you know, against Boulder, I mean, I did say this. I think this is one of my quotes. You know, the Boulder game is his honestly his floor. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out and drops 600 passing yards on Boulder eventually in these next 3 years. You know, he has 3 more chances to do so, probably. So I wouldn't be surprised if he drops 600 yards on that defense, on that team pretty soon here. And, 5 or 6 touchdowns to go for every 100 yards. And so, I mean, he has a lot of potential here. I think it was a very up and down season. I mean, you could tell he was a freshman quarterback at times, and that is okay, honestly. So, yeah. By the way, passing yards wise, led all freshmen in the entire country in passing yards. There was not a freshman quarterback that threw for as much as he did. Plus, I want to say he was at least in the top 50 or 100 as far as passing yards went among all quarterbacks in the country. So I'm just going to throw that out there. It doesn't sound as impressive as number 1, but I just wanted to throw that out there comparatively. So yeah, but all right. So we have his film here. First off, shout out to him. He helped us out a little bit here. Made a kind of highlight reel of some of the things that we talked about that we wanted to see more out of him and stuff like that. And so this is going to help us out a lot here. So big shout out to him or whoever helped him with this highlight reel here. Now, we're going to be playing this film. I'm probably going to be going down and taking some notes. We do have our rubrics here before we hop into the film breakdown. Watching the film and then breaking it down as we go. I just want to say, whenever we do our film breakdowns, or at least starting basically 2 or 3 months ago, we have a rubric now. For our quarterbacks, we have 10 categories. You could get up to 10 points each. I just want to go over this real quick here. Actually, here, let me go ahead and put this on the screen here. Boom. There we go. Move this over just a little bit. All right, so 10 categories, and then basically we also have kind of a grading system to it. And so 1 to 3, if you score 1 to 3 in any of these categories, basically means you need improvement, should be a priority for this player. At best, the skill is okay, but ultimately this is a skill that may cause this person to get benched eventually. And then 4 to 7, that's about average in the average rating there. This skill on a bad day, it's just below average, but above average at the very best on a very good day. Will suffice for the time being, but could definitely be a problem on the next level or in a future season. Not this one, but, maybe in a season or 2. And then the 7 to 8 rating. If you get a 7 to 8 rating in one of these categories, basically that means this is above average to good. I think the best way to describe this is anywhere from a 2-star to 3-star kind of talent rating here when it comes to one of these categories, but it's above average to good. Like I said, the skill is in their bag, kind of is one of the reasons that makes them a solid player. It will be good enough for them, like they're this rating, if they get one of these on one of these categories, it's good enough for them to hold on to that starting job on the level they're on, but could potentially hold them back on the next level. Like I said, comparable to a 2-star to low 3-star talent. If you get an 8 to 9, that's anywhere from 3-star to 4-star talent. Good to great. The skill is comparable to, like I said, 3 to 4 stars. Level of quality of play is up there, and the consistency is at a rate where you can almost always expect good things from the skill, even at its worst. Skill sufficient, The 9 to 10, that's basically very good to elite, comparable to 4 and 5 stars. I mean, I don't really think we gotta go there yet. Look, some of the guys, should we? Nah, we won't do that right now. Some of the guys that we do rate, don't even hit 9 or 10, because we do grade pretty tough here. I grade a little bit more loose than Kodey does, so I'm just gonna throw that out there right now. Kodey, do you have any comments there?
I'm the one who makes people mad, so just be mad at me. It's finally going to be, live documented when people get mad. And I'm going to have to deal with that in the DMs. But anyways...
It'll be okay.
Let's watch it.
All right, 0-0. Yep, ready, 3. And by the way, we're doing this because Kodey... we're not watching the same screen right now. But anyways, 3, 2, 1, and play. So we're starting with exciting throws, it looks like here. All right, let's see it. Oh, this was really nice right here. Look, Usually,
oh my lord.
Usually I tell quarterbacks, hey, don't throw the ball while you're falling down. But he was wide open, so screw it. Like, get it to him.
The eyes downfield.
Also, good job breaking that tackle.
Oh my lord!
That's good placement right there.
Pretty quick release too.
Quicker than when he was at
quicker
the
than
grade.
It was before. Yeah.
Which we have to know.
All right, let's see. Is this against Pooter? I think.
This wasn't
ball placement.
It wasn't a bad. I would have liked him maybe a little bit closer to the outside because he kind of led his receiver into that safety, but not bad at all though. This one he just let it go. Love that.
Yeah, he just had him beat.
Now, as far as deep throws go, I mean, we know that's not the biggest issue here.
Oh my god! How does he not
good awareness?
Okay, flips out to his running back.
Yeah, well, it's good awareness. It's good awareness,
Did what Joe Mixon or what Burrow couldn't,
and what Garoppolo couldn't either.
Well, definitely not Garoppolo.
Well, we
look at that catch right there.
That's a good catch. By the way, these are, I think he said example throws because I said I wanted to see more over the shoulder type of stuff. So this is kind of what
that's exactly what you wanted to see right there.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
That's good. That's super clean. All right, so this is Castle View here.
Yep. Just let this one go. He's just open. That's a good timing too.
Number 5 with a lot of catches on here.
Oh, look at that play right over the middle. That's Grant Page.
That's Grant Page. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like that.
Nice. That's
look at that. Right
here, hold on. Pause it real quick.
Pause.
Is that 2 minutes? Oh, that's a little bit before. So sorry, a minute 56.
56. That's where this starts.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm paused right now at 158. You see the safe, or I want to say this is a safety or a linebacker or something right here, but he's dropped back.
Timing throw.
Corner. Yeah, you have to hit it right here. If it's too late, one of these two are going to pick it. And if it's too early, well, then this back one right here, I just realized I can't see my mouse here. But here, let me move this over just a little bit. There you go. Okay. Now, if it's too early, then this corner kind of facing or with his back to the sideline would have picked it. And then this safety would have got it if it wasn't right on the money. So this was a really good throw here. Now, it's second down, as you can see. As far as decision making goes, hit the check down, right? He's wide open right here. This kid right in the flats. He's as wide as he gets. So this is definitely a little risky, especially if you don't need the yardage right away, because he's still going to turn around and get a couple of yards, maybe just as much as this one. But regardless, though, very good timing.
I mean, when you know you can thread that needle, you do kind of put your receiver in a very dangerous spot. To elaborate on that a little bit, on why maybe the check down, because this check down route is Jordan Rochelle, right?
28. That's Jordan Rochelle, and this is Grant Page, by the way. So
yeah,
you trust your star. Yeah, you trust your star to make that play. That's a play he needs to make. And obviously Beckham helped him. He put it right on the money with really good timing. I'm just going to keep replaying of that. He didn't have to overextend or lean back and get it. Like, he got the ball, right? And if you're a star receiver, especially if you're 6'3", 200 pounds, that's a play you need to make. That's a 3-star play right there. Ooh, let me
shout out to Ben for making this safety have to turn around that is matched up on him in the slot, by the way.
Yes, so...
Look at that. Boom. Oh, man, he literally had to turn all the way around.
So there you go. But, all right.
He really could have thrown it to anybody on this play, honestly.
Yeah.
The secondary is lost. But, that's a tough completion, and he completes it, at the bare minimum and shows great timing on it.
It's a good confidence, though. If you're looking at a quarterback, you want your quarterback to be confident. We know Beckham is confident, and so that's a very good confident throw. There's going to be tougher situations like on 3rd and 10 or whatever, and in the 4th quarter you're driving where you need to make that throw. So to have it in your bag is never a bad thing. But here, let's keep it going. 2 minutes. 2 minutes flat.
Okay, hold up. Let me get back there real quick.
All righty.
Okay.
3
on your account.
2, 1. But regardless, a very good throw and catch, by the way. But, he needs to make that.
Ben knew.
Yeah. This was nice right there.
Yeah, that's a great
really
catch
good.
on Ben's part. I think he could have pushed it a little bit further. But
Yeah.
we are holding Beckham to a very high standard here. Are you saying ooh to that chaperone throw?
Yeah.
That hitch?
Yeah, but, I mean, hey, like I said, confidence throws,
That seam throw to Ben could have been a little bit closer to the body.
This was a good one right here.
That one to Grant Page against Prairie View?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yep. All right, we got some motion here. Oh.
This is wide. Oh. I was looking the other way, too.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking at... This play starts at, 2:41, basically, is when this motion ends. All right. And...
Go ahead.
It's a flood. It's a flood play with a little bit of, Honestly, look. Jordan is open here. I love this.
Here, let me go back a little bit here. You're talking about 28 right here.
Yeah.
He's going towards the pylon. Because you put the linebacker in conflict. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously everything that you're saying too. But I mean, now. I don't know why this play goes on for longer than 2 seconds because get it to him. And I mean, your arm strength is strong enough. Just zip. There's no way that this guy is making this play. But instead, you end up, oh my goodness, where does this, so he gets the snap at the 9, okay, and it's a flood concept, so he does have to roll out. He should throw it at the 12. But instead, he drops all the way back to the 16-yard line before he throws it off his back foot, like he's putting up a fadeaway, to Ben here, who has one defender's pretty close, honestly, and maybe could make a play on this. And then you have another defender trailing, and then you have the safety who is checking up here, who has that one covered. But he's still in position to come down, I'd say. It maybe make a hit on Ben here. When you hit play, and this ball... luckily, this defender is just unathletic here, and literally falls down. Bro, what are you doing? Why are you... Okay, I'm sorry, that's disrespectful, I know, but what are you doing? I know that this secondary coach was having a meltdown watching this. Bro, stay on your feet and make a play on this ball if you're the corner. But we're not here to talk about the corner. We're here to talk about Beckham. Shout out to Ben for coming back to this ball, because he did have to come back to this ball a little bit.
Good play, my boy.
He's in the end zone. He comes back to the 1-yard line, almost the 2-yard line, honestly, the 1.5-yard line, to make this catch. So way to adjust to the ball. That's, as a receiver and a receiver coach, that's your job, is to make any catch that's in your vicinity. So shout out to Ben here for making this play. And then, falls into the end zone. But from a Beckham standpoint, I do not like this decision. Just watching this play develop. I mean, look, even this spot route at 243, that's kind of in the middle of the field here, you do have this linebacker that's close that could make a hit, but I don't hate it. I like it more than throwing it across your body, across the field, in where 2 defenders are. You know what I mean? You see that middle route, Simon, that guy that's just standing right in the middle of the field in the end zone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't hate that because, look, you have these defenders all twisted up here following Ben on this crossing route. And if you hit play and stop, they continue to follow him, and only one kind of sticks around. And with Beckham's velocity, he makes this throw very easily here. And I don't know. I think this is against Legacy, I want to say.
Yeah.
I don't know any of these D linemen who are going to stick their bear paw up, especially when you got, Worcester on this line holding it down. And I don't even think this... I mean, hold up. I'm rewatching it one more time to see the pressure and see what kind of happens here. I mean, they bring 5. One guy just doesn't pick up... Two guys don't pick up that blitz.
The running back doesn't pick up the blitzer up the middle. So I could see where Beckham's coming from. But also, here's kind of what I'm looking at.
Already open here.
Yeah, Jordan's open, but Beckham, I think, is set on throwing this drag route here, which is fine because he gets open and it's man-to-man. There's a reason here. Let me go back a little bit here to this motion. There's a reason why coaches put players in motion. They put players in motion so that you could read, hey, is it man or zone? Beckham correctly reads that it's man because, they're moving somebody over to come get I don't know why I forgot his name, Jordan right here. And so you put a lot of players in conflict. This little bunch of linebackers, as a linebacker and defensive coach, this is the worst possible situation ever. Because these 5 fools right here are like linebackers, safeties, whatever, are like, oh my god, what are we supposed to do here? Now, if it wasn't for, the blitz here kind of putting the pressure on Beckham, and, Beckham here being like, all right, I know this drag route's going to be open eventually, then, it would have been a cleaner throw, obviously, right? Like you said, Kodey, cornerback, you need to make that play. I don't know why he just tripped right there, but he did. But if I'm Beckham, it's not the worst read, because you still scored a touchdown. You knew he was going to get open eventually. You had to buy yourself some time. But, just for the sake of efficiency, because you're going to play tougher defenses, by the way. Like, look, you're not just playing quarterback just so you can put up stats. You want to win a state chip, right? And so when you play teams like a Cherry Creek who have a Chase Brackney, Iowa commit, Angelo Petrides, defensive playmaker of the year, Logan Brantley, Henry Lamar, even Marte Russell, they're going to be a lot faster than these linebackers and are going to put on the pressure. And so you just got to be a little bit sharper here. Jordan Rochelle, he's wide open.
He's got to be your first read here, right?
I don't know if that's what they're telling him.
That's fair.
But probably. Look, if he's in motion, and plus they kind of give him a lot of room here. Like, look, this receiver is going to go this way because he takes that defensive player away. He's wide open. This is a natural pick here. The linebacker or whoever this is that's supposed to cover Jordan he's way far back. He
has to go around the other wide receiver and the guy who's covering him, so he's already lost.
Yeah, so this is just a basic concept. Just go for the easy throw here. Because
don't overthink it, but congrats on the touchdown.
Yeah, no, it's a good touchdown, and Ben Anderson, shout out to him, super underrated. He made a great play on the ball. But like I said, when you're playing at Cherry Creek, who have all those dogs out there, you're sacked exactly a second after, exactly in the time I just took to click it and pause it, basically. And so you got to be a little bit sharper here. I'm not going to criticize it too much, though, because you still got the touchdown in. I would have liked, maybe set and throw so that, you're not floating it, because it does kind of flutter a little bit here. But other than that, I'm not super mad at it. He knew the drag route was going to be open eventually. So, it's just a matter of efficiency, right? You just want to get the ball out quicker, especially when you do have one of those motions type of deal, and you have a playmaker in a Jordan Rochelle, just like, hey, trust your guy, Trust your guy that he's going to beat that, slow linebacker to the corner because he's a receiver and that guy's a linebacker, But let's keep it going. Oh, my bad. 246, Kodey.
Okay, let me get back there. I jumped ahead to scramble/escape throws, which I'm very excited to see.
Yes.
Okay, I'm at 246, so we're frame by frame right now.
Yep.
But anyways, on your count.
Oh, my bad. Okay, here. Let me go back here. All right, ready?
I need the 3, 2, 1, go. I'm just like that.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, the click even happened at the same time. Scramble and escape throws here at the 250 mark, basically. Let's see it. All right, this first one. Oh, yeah. Well, look at Grant Page making a great play there. I like that they rolled him out to the left and right, and I honestly don't hate his ability to throw.
This was
left.
nice.
Oh,
right
that's
there.
sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, in between those 3 defenders there. Yeah. All right, let's see. Kind of back up against his end zone here.
Hold on. After this, though, let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
First off, great throw.
His notice of when he realizes the rush, is that what you're talking about?
No, I don't know if he meant. It looks like he put on move on this. I don't know why this guy fell down here. But you see this outside linebacker. I'm paused at 318, by the way, Kodey. So the left step up? Yeah, so the left tackle or whoever this is on the edge definitely misses that block. But I don't know why. I don't know why this pass rusher slips. This pass rusher slips as Beckham takes a step up, which is really weird.
Because you see Beckham kind of point left and then go right.
Yeah.
Wait, check out number 20 something. He's working inside against 77.
I don't know.
And you can see him kind of lose Beckham here a little bit too, as he tries to go back around the play when Beckham steps up in the pocket. Great pocket manipulation.
No, this is really good here. But I don't know why that pass rusher fell down. Very good delivery, by the way, too. All right.
Yeah, look at that. That's a dot.
Yeah. 325.
Are you at 326? Okay.
Alrighty. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so I think this is Horizon here. Rolls out to his left. Squares up to the receiver there.
That's
You'll love to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Look at that. Only where the wide receiver could make a catch. I like it.
Yeah.
Right. Rolled out left. The pass rush is coming already. Oh my lord!
Ooh,
I think I saw this throw.
Close, but
I think I saw this throw. And I think I said the exact same thing. I think I said, that's a little close. Sorry, I'm rewatching this a little bit because number 5.
Here, wait, where you at with it?
I'm at 344, right as he's making the throw.
Okay.
Also, both of his feet end up off the ground on a lot of these throws. Are you noticing that? Look at this.
Yeah. It's
just interesting.
I mean, it is what it is.
But right over number 5 here. Great ball placement. You might even see Coach Kodey Stauffer somewhere in those stands eating nachos. But anyways, are we ready to start on 349 whenever you are?
Let's do 350.
Oh, look at you.
Ready?
Okay.
All right, and go.
I can hear our clicks happen at the same time, so that's always a good sign. Check it out.
Oh, I think I would have liked if you stepped up there. But that's not bad.
I love him making a miss. Oh, you just got trapped by a quarterback.
Okay.
Shout out to Beckham, though, for doing that. I like this decision. I like this decision, honestly. He saw the open field and tiptoed down that sideline very well.
Way to get the first.
Everyone here is definitely covered.
There you go.
So I like that. That's fine decision.
Oh, this camera's so far back.
I don't really think anyone is super open here, so I don't hate it.
Okay.
Maybe instead of trying to throw a move here, just go for the pylon. You're long. Just reach that arm out.
Dive, yeah.
Way to step up here. Maybe has 24 open. No, that's probably a pick. That's a good decision. I'm fine with that too. I mean, nobody hates QB power.
QB power.
Shout out to his 8th grade days, bro.
I know. Okay. All right. I didn't fill out my rubric as we were doing that, so I'm gonna go ahead and click his varsity highlights and play those as I fill this out. A lot of things I like, you know. Yeah. Here, I'll go ahead and kind of. Jeez, what is this commercial? I'll go ahead and kind of talk and say my thoughts out loud as I fill this out and have this play, just, you know, for the listeners, right? Listeners, viewers, whatever. All right, arm power. Kodey, you and I, we could discuss these as we go as well. Arm power, I like it a little bit better compared to some of the senior quarterbacks in this class, honestly. Especially on some of those deep throws. Like, we been know, though, he could get it downfield. But definitely, I mean, it's definitely stronger than his 8th grade year, because there were some throws that he made. That throw to Grant Page between that safety corner or whatever, that was an arm power type of throw. You know, obviously good timing and whatnot as well, but you got to have an arm to fit that in. And so with Beckham here, I mean, I'm kind of probably looking at maybe, I would say 8.5, 8.6 is kind of where I'm at right now.
I'm at an 8.1.
Okay.
But I'm not mad about it. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
eight's a very good grade. So,
yeah. But no, I understand that, though. I'm hesitant to give him this because I think there are definitely, well, obviously there's a difference when you're fading back. You're throws aren't going to be as powerful and whatnot. But I mean, like on this deep though, they're definitely he could push it down the field. But then when you kind of make the routes a little bit shorter, it comes down to, okay, can he gun it? And I think he could gun it, and that goes a lot farther for me, and that's why I'm giving him an 8.5, because he could gun it into some pretty tight spaces. But as far as deep throws goes, I mean, I'm not gonna call him a Keegan Patterson type of guy quite yet. You feel me?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the strength is there, but I think that our next category will. Oh, that throw against Prairie View, that corner route to Ben Anderson, not the lob one, but the one where he zips it in. I think that that's a great example of his arm power as well.
Yeah.
Not to mention that throwing on the run is a different category, or is an category for us, but that's the one I was talking about. But at the same time, what those tight throws that you do throw on the run, that is also partially arm power too. So, there's that as well. Just for now, I'm going to give him an 8.4. It could definitely improve. Like I said, he's just a freshman. You went down and I'm going up. I'm going 8.3 here.
Okay, so we're close. We're pretty close here. Let's talk accuracy, because I think this is one I might struggle with a little bit here. There are definitely a couple throws. I don't know if it's timing, maybe just as much as accuracy, but there are definitely a couple throws I'm like, hey, lead your receiver a little bit more to the outside, especially in the end zone. Like, you don't want to kind of float it up there for the safety or corner to get it. So there you go.
I'm
but also
those touch throws where his accuracy struggles just a little bit. And like you said, maybe it's timing. There's a very thin line between that. But, those catches where the receivers kind of have to make a catch with a defender on them, I don't necessarily think that they have to make that catch there. I think that they can make the catch a little bit further away from the defender if the touch is just a little bit more. But then you also have a great pass, in this Prairie View game between those two safeties. This one that you're about to watch right now, actually, where, like that amount of touch and accuracy, I think that's perfect for where it needs to be. You know what I mean? So you have very, very bright shines, but you also have some average kind of glimpses as well. You kind of feel me on that?
Yeah, I think the name of the game for Beckham here is consistency. Like, there are just times where the placement is just not it, and then there are times he makes a perfect throw, and he's a young quarterback, and so you could definitely expect that. But if I'm going to be completely honest here, I think I'm going to have to give him probably a 7. I'm like 7.4, 7.5. I mean, I know he could do it.
7.2.
Okay, that's fine.
It's because of the brights are really bright, and I could easily see this, being a 9.
In 2
by his
years.
Junior year, probably.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. So there's a reason why we're grading pretty tough here, honestly. But yeah, I think 7.5.
And we know him too, so I feel like that maybe plays a little bit of a role. But
yeah, but I mean, we want him to get better, though. We're not going to sugarcoat it. Like, at the end of the day, I mean, you need to be consistent. 8 interceptions. I know stats are stats. I'm not the biggest stat guy, but that's a little bit on the higher side, especially when there are some throws that probably could have been picked. He could have been in the double digits for interceptions, and look, I just think honestly he just needs to work on his consistency. But we know he has the ability to do it, and I think he got better down the road as well. Because when you're playing with a guy like Grant Page, honestly, you really just kind of got to get it into the vicinity. You don't really got to aim like that. When Grant Page went down, you saw some of that adjustment there. And so that's actually why I'm pretty high on his potential with his accuracy, just seeing how he adjusted post Grant Page.
Hey, Simon, I don't know why, but on the stream, I'm frozen with my mouth open here.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to add on there?
No, I agree with. Okay, there we go. That's all together now. But anyways, yeah, I definitely think when you play with someone who's as talented as Grant Page was, his senior season, and literally a do-it-all guy. I mean, Grant Page was going to, with a full season, be rated our number 1 receiver, honestly, and or our number 1 safety. It was going to boil down to that, basically no matter what. And so when you're throwing to the best wide receiver in the state, at least pre whole season review kind of looks, then that gives you a sense of comfort, which I think was nice for him settling in. But then you can see those areas where he struggled, in those first initial games without Grant Page, where he didn't really have that, he's going to catch every single ball kind of security. And his pick against Castleview was on kind of a bad target to Grant Page as well. So,
yeah. All right. Well, I'm at a 7.5. I think I'm going to stick there. Timing on throws, I think I'm going to give him a little bit more here, like a 7.7, 7.8. What I'm looking for on timing more is just consistency. That's it. Really all it, like when I'm grading timing, like you need to be consistent with your timing. If I know you can be, you can time it well, that's great, but that doesn't really help me out. So I'm going to go ahead and give him, actually, I'm going to go down 1.1 here. I'm going to give him a 7.6. I think it's above average right now. It has the potential to be great, even good in a lot of games as well. But I think timing on those, he could definitely work on that a little bit more here. And like I said, he's a really young quarterback with, maybe one or two of these guys he played with before, obviously as an 8th grader. So I can't really blame him there.
I'm going to be a little bit more harsh on Beckham in this category because, look, just kind of going based off of what our scale is. The skill on a bad day is just below average, and I think that that's pretty true here. So I'm going to have him fall into kind of this average frame here at a 6.9 is what I'm going to give him on his timing. And it's because, some of these throws, man, if he throws this against Cherry Creek, some of these throws, it's going to be an all-you-can-intercept buffet. That worries me. I worry about, maybe some of the timing and rhythm against, fearsome pass rushes. What happens if he goes against, an Arapaho defense of the past year and stuff like that, as far as, where's the ball going to be with the pressure and stuff. And so that's something that I've kind of taken into account here. But on a good day, it's above average. That's our scale here. That's why it's on the high side of our average window and is borderline above average for me, because at times it is above average and it's even great at times. But other times it's like, don't know.
I think is
where it kind of falls.
Yeah, I think his timing on deep throws are a little bit better than everything else too. So that helps him out for me. That's why I have him up here. Because I'm just looking at some of these throws and I'm like, that's pretty good timing.
Look at this next one though.
Which one?
That one. Where his receiver falls down to catch it.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's more of a timing than an arm power kind of thing on that particular play.
I got you.
Anyways.
Let's keep it going here. Mechanics, fluidity. I'll let you talk about that because you're always tougher there.
What's that supposed to mean? No, I'm just kidding. I like how he uses his legs and everything as part of his throw. I like that, he squares up to his receiver, whether he's rolling out left, rolling out right. That's very disciplined, and shout out to EPO and especially Coach Stan for enforcing that. I still think that his arm maybe goes a little too low on his throws here a little bit. You can kind of see, it drops super low. He still has that loop. It's a faster loop, mind you. I'd say that it's even faster than McAllister's loop, thinking about it. But it is still a loop nonetheless. And maybe, I don't know. That's my only kind of red flag here. But, for squaring up to receivers and stuff, I am going to give him a 7.8 on overall mechanics fluidity. I'm usually very harsh on what the arm does and the loop. However, I don't think that that's really holding him back. He only had 2 fumbles all year, and they were on actual hits and not from his loop. That's something else that I kind of take into consideration is, does the loop cause turnovers? And I really don't think that it does. And so, with a lot of the other things that he does, I agree with that. Sometimes he does get a little sloppy trying to make a play, but I can respect that. And, most of the time he's very, very disciplined on squaring up to his receiver on the run. And that goes a long, long way with me. Simon, where do you sit with these overall mechanics and fluidity?
This one's kind of tough for me. I'm not gonna.
We've
seen him train too, so we've both had a lot of time to just look at his mechanics here. I might go a little bit lower here, not that much lower. Give him a 7.7, actually, just because. Actually, screw it. No, I'll just give him a 7 point. There's no reason to go lower. Yeah, I'll give him a 7.8 here. It could be a little bit smoother. I like his footwork, though. I know we'll talk about that. Or actually, no. I mean, I guess this is the best time to talk about it right now. But I like his footwork for the most part. It's not too bad, I mean, he does a pretty good job to really use his whole body here, and the body parts that matter. And so, I think I'm just gonna agree with you and go 7.8. So yeah, nothing too crazy there, but. Yeah, let's keep it going. Decision-making skills. I am actually just going to go ahead and give him an 8. There are sometimes he makes great decision-making. Or, what am I trying to say here? There are times where he makes great decisions. And there are times where it's like, you didn't need to make that throw a little bit harder than you needed to. There's an easier throw down the field. And so I'm going to give him an 8 just because I want to see a little bit more consistency with that. But also, the reason why he's getting an 8 grade right here is because he learned to spread, And there's a lot of decisions you got to make when running the spread, outside of just throwing it to one or two receivers here, because he got a lot of receivers involved. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna up that a little bit here. I'm gonna give him an 8.3 in decision-making skills. So that's about a 3-star, 4-star rating. I think that's a very appropriate. If you were to go ahead and be like, hey, Beckham, college offense, let's see if you could run it. I would feel relatively comfortable that, he wouldn't be completely lost out there, obviously, or as lost as you could be as a freshman, right? Because running the spread, in my opinion, when you're running a spread or air raid, you got a lot of decisions to make. And so, when you're running an offense that maybe is a little bit more run-heavy, you don't have as many decisions to make here. And so I definitely think highly more of spread offense type of quarterbacks. That's why he's getting an 8.3. What about you, Kodey?
Well, you reminding me of the spread did help out his score a little bit, because I was going to be pretty harsh. That one play that we looked at, throwing off of his back foot across the field, that was hard to shake, as well as just some of the plays where I think someone's more open. But like you said, it is a spread system, so I will cut him a little bit of slack. He did throw quite a few, not... Okay, let me start over here. 22-8, that's pretty all right. There's guys who've thrown less interceptions. There's guys who've thrown more interceptions. So middle of the road kind of stuff there. But also watching him live, I will say that I think sometimes he's holding on to the ball for way too long. And so I don't know exactly how many times he was sacked this year. But, Fairview is one of those teams that counts sacks as negative yards. And so he had, quote-unquote, negative 79 rushing yards this year. And I think, honestly, that's from him holding the ball way too long a lot of the time. I think that you see it a lot in the Castleview game where, quote-unquote, he had 7 carries for negative 29 yards. Because, he was so used to the pocket and the time that he had against the Boulder game to try and stretch the field, when sometimes just take that dump off that's already open. You know what I mean? Quit. Like, I understand that you want to make a play. Everybody wants to make a play. But settle down. Take what the defense gives you. I mean, look, there's a reason why death by paper cuts won Tom Brady like 3 or 4 Super Bowls. You know what I mean? So it's about taking what the defense gives you, understanding what the defense is going to give you, and being okay with that, and taking, 3 4-yard completions as a first down. I know that one 50-yard completion is a touchdown sometimes, but move the chains, get into the red zone, make a good decision in the red zone is kind of where I'm at with Beckham here. And just how long he holds onto the ball. I talked to you about that. I was like, where would you say holding onto the ball too long kind of falls into? I think that's decision-making skills, and I have to agree with that. So actually, I am going to drop it down to a 7.4, just because I think that he holds onto the ball way too long at time through the games that I saw. But
that's fair. I am going to go down a little bit. I'm actually just going to go back down to an 8. Look, he got better as the season went on. Obviously, as a freshman quarterback, you're learning a lot. There's a lot of progressions you're going through. And so I'm going to give him that benefit of the doubt that he's obviously a lot better, getting rid of the football than he was in the very first game of the season or even that Chaparral game, which was like 4 or 5 games in. I think if he was... Oh my gosh, I wish we got to see him against Thunderridge. But if we watched him against Thunderridge, he would have done a much better job just getting the ball out. And so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there. But you are right, though. I mean, it just comes down to decisiveness, right? How decisive are you and whatnot. Especially when you're running the spread, someone's probably going to be open, And so it just comes down to, like, hey, if he's open, especially if it's like a first and second, like, first and 10, second and like, I don't know, 5 to 6, second and mid or whatever, screw it. Let your receivers go make a play. Let your receivers go get you 5 extra yards, I think with Beckham here, patience is something that he could definitely work on a little bit as well. I would have to agree with you there, Kodey. I mean, like, patience as in, like, not waiting for a guy to get open, but, like, knowing that eventually you're going to hit a long bomb on them. But you got to... I mean, it just comes down to running the offense smoothly and just being lethal with it. If you could get a completion on every down, good. I think that's not a bad thing, especially those early downs. Take what you could get, make easier third down situations. The worst case scenario, at least if you're a quarterback and you're trying to manage a game, is finding yourself in a 3rd and long, and then you have to make a big play here. I'd probably rather be in like a second and short, second and mid situation, and then, the playbook's a little bit more open there. Help out your coaches as well. So that's just where I'm at there. But I'm going to just give him an 8 here, give him that benefit of the doubt that he obviously got better as the season went on, as all freshman quarterbacks and high school quarterbacks do, Scramble ability, this should be pretty quick, Kodey. Look, he's not Lamar Jackson. We watched him run his 40-yard dash, actually. So, I'm sorry, Beckham, but where is this at? I think I might have to give you a 5 here. I mean, he's not going to rush for 100 yards a game. That's just what it is. He can get out, though, and rush for like 10 yards a pop on the high school level, but that's not his strength. I'm just going to be real.
I'm going to give him a 6 because he trucked that one defender, and I loved it. And, he likes to throw in some moves, and I think, with a little bit more body control and a little bit more boogie, that maybe he'll snatch someone's ankles for a touchdown one of these days.
Sure, maybe.
I think it has really high upside, honestly.
No, there's upside.
Body and frame.
Yeah, no, there's definitely upside, but I mean, he's at a 5, which is about where his 40-yard dash is as well. So that was a little bit too much there. I'm sorry,
we still love you, Beckham.
Yeah. All right, let's go to throw on the run. I'm actually pretty. I like his throw on the run ability a lot. Looking at a lot of those throw on the run plays, I was very impressed with what I can't talk with what I saw. I think it's one of the reasons why he's a special quarterback for sure. Like when he's like out there, he's outside the pocket and he's moving receivers around and stuff. Like he is lethal. Like on this play right here where he throws that little, it looks like a really deep out route. That's perfect. And so for that, I'm actually going to give him an 8.5 here. I think this is one of his special abilities. I'm so glad I
wasn't overreacting.
What did you give him?
I gave him an 8.5 too. I was like, geez, that seems pretty high. But, I mean, I don't have, like, any problems with his throws that he makes on the run.
Yeah.
As long as he's moving laterally. Obviously, running backwards, that's one thing. But anytime he's moving out of the pocket, you can tell Fairview calls a lot of flood plays because they know it's his strength. And also, he's a right-handed quarterback who can, I mean, right there, even that's a little bit of a throw on the run because he's threatening to move upfield and then just throws a great dart squaring up to that receiver. And he's a right-handed quarterback who can roll out left and throw on the run, and he can roll out right and throw on the run. And I feel like that's something that you see quarterbacks struggle with is if they're right and they're rolling out left, it doesn't look as good. That's where you start to see the sidearms kind of come out for like the baseball players and stuff, and where those long windups start to begin. And, left-handed quarterbacks rolling out right, it doesn't look as good. They don't really square up, and they don't deliver that throw with that arm across their body. But, for Beckham, I love an 8.5 here. It is one of my favorite parts of his game.
Okay, perfect. Let's keep it going here. Pocket.
Yeah, let's muscle through these.
Yeah, pocket awareness and movement. We could put both of those together. Awareness, I think it's up there as well. I mean, he knows when the pocket's collapsing because he only has 5 blockers. So, and one of them did make our top 5 offensive lineman list, but there are a good amount of times the pocket's collapsing and he doesn't hold on to it too long and take a sack. I'm going to give him an 8.4 for pocket awareness. Pocket movement, I'd like to see him continue to manipulate the pocket a little bit better. That's just footwork, climbing the pocket, delivering the throw, right? I feel like I didn't see enough of that. And so I'm going to actually probably be a little bit tougher here and give him a 6 right now on that. So 8.4 pocket awareness, he knows. Yeah, actually, let's just go 8.5. He knows when the pocket's collapsing, especially seeing that backside pressure play where he was in his own end zone. The edge rusher was coming around. He stepped up, at least got out of there so he doesn't take a safety. I really liked that. And there are just a lot of plays throughout the season looking through, some of his full games where that he could sense the pressure. So I'm not, this is the least of my concerns, honestly, pocket awareness. Pocket movement, though, could be cleaner. I mean, you don't have to roll out right or left. I think that's still a habit he's breaking here, but I'm going to give him a 6 on that. Kodey, what do you think?
This is one of those instances where I'm not going to be as harsh on you, just because I think that he does climb the pocket a lot more than a lot of quarterbacks that we even watched as seniors as a part of our top 5 film breakdown. I think that when he does step up in the pocket, he does a great job of delivering dots as well. And so, obviously that's partially throwing too, but I think pocket movement, he delivers on his pocket movement too. His efficiency of moving in the pocket, I feel like is pretty good when he does do that. He does kind of run backwards quite a bit. Yeah. So, I won't say it's perfect, but I will give him a 7.7 because the times that he does step up in the pocket, it looks very clean and very fundamentally sound. And just, I think he shows very solid footwork when he does step up in the pocket. And I feel like he manipulates it very well, better than most QBs in Colorado, if I have to be completely honest. And then pocket awareness, I give it 8.1, very similar to what you had. And that lastly brings us to framer size. Okay, look, he's like 6'5", 6. Okay,
yeah, 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, somewhere around. I swear he's 6'5". He's a little modest there. I am not 100% sure on the 180. I want to one of these times at EPO. We gotta get our EPO guys to bring out his scale. He could be because he is tall, so the weight has to be somewhere. But right now I say his frame. I'm actually gonna give him an 8 because of the upside of the frame, honestly. And he's tall. He's exactly how tall you want a quarterback to be. And he's taller than, I think he would be the tallest quarterback out of all the seniors that we looked at. He's
easily.
Yeah, he's taller than Logan Brooke, and he was our tallest and most filled out one. So I do give him an 8. He does need to fill it out. I understand that. I acknowledge that. However, he didn't miss any games this year, so that's because something that we consider in frame and size is like injury and stuff.
Yeah.
And he didn't miss any games. So, and he did go against some people who could lay the wood for sure. And he stayed in there and hung tough. So I give him an 8. Simon, I'll let you give your frame grade because you do look a little surprised. And then your overall final score.
Yeah, honestly, I think you're a little tougher on quarterbacks when it comes to frames. I'm actually just going to give him a 7.7. Was going to give him like a 7.2, 7.3, but this actually brings my grade to like a whole number, so I'll take that. But I'm going to give him a 7.7. Look, height, love it. Perfect. Weight, you need to put on muscle. you need to put on weight, Yeah, I think that's actually one of the things that he really needs to focus on here. Just getting stronger and putting on weight and muscle. Because honestly, when it comes down to it, Beckham Kritsa is a quarterback that could run a spread offense and has a lot of potential here. He's a pretty smart guy, I would say. Honestly, for a freshman to be able to run the spread offense right now, it's not always the easiest. So I'm just going to give him that credit. And, to spread out the ball the way he did and not just focus on a Grant Page or Jordan Rochelle is equally impressive as well. Now, for him to take his game to the next level, boom, just get stronger. If you could get stronger and zip those passes into really tight spots, perfect. I mean, a lot of arm power would obviously go up, as well as frame. But a lot of categories he would go up if he gets stronger, just straight up. And so throw on the run, that's the one that would go up as well. And so I just want to really see him get stronger. But overall, here, let me bring my rubric over so that y'all could see it on the screen here. Overall, I have him at a 775. A straight 75. I know he's probably a 4-star guy. I would say that extra stars is definitely potential here. But I think right now, just grading freshman Beckham Kritsa, he's a 75. Which, if I'm going to be honest, that's higher than all of our honorable mentions for this top 5 list, if I'm being honest with you.
Yep.
At least for me. Yeah. Yeah. He could be a starter for a lot of teams. He could have been a starter for a lot of teams. I think that's fair to say. 75 isn't too bad here. I actually thought I would have rated him a little bit higher. Usually when we do our film breakdowns, we'll go over the film one more time, look at certain plays and games a little bit closer, and then we do adjustments from there. But I think just raw reaction-wise, 75 is where I have him right now, just pure talent-wise. Kodey, what do you think about that? And plus, what's your rating? Or I could just click over.
I'm at a 75.8, so we're on the same page. Honestly, 0.8 of a difference is not very big when looking at prospects here for us. At least not when you're looking at a top 5. We're not looking at a top 5 list, so it's not that big. But yeah, he was rated then even. He was rated higher than even a quarterback who I did have in my top 5 list. Like Simon said, I can be a little harsh sometimes. But significantly higher than some of my honorable mentions that I looked at, and even some guys who were potential, candidates for their position for Playmaker of the Year awards, as in like offensive most valuable, etc., etc. But overall, very excited for his upside, and I think that these are all things that it's good to learn from, and things that he can fix in the offseason and fix with a little bit more chemistry and whatnot. And I feel like he learned and got better throughout the games, and is definitely he's the guy there for sure. And
yep.
Yeah,
all right.
That's Beckham Kritsa.
As the quarterback guy, and Kodey, feel free to go right after me. I'm gonna go ahead and give him some homework here to do to get better. Right. First off, hey, get stronger. I think that's probably my biggest thing right now. I just like to see him get stronger because I think he could make a lot more throws and be a lot more lethal if he's a stronger quarterback overall. So that's priority number 1, IMO. So there you go. And then number 2, decision-making skills, timing on throws, that type of stuff. I would say go ahead and look up Devin Silvestri, quarterback for Newsom High School out of Lithia, Florida. She's a senior this year. Won, I think it's Female Football Player of the Year and whatnot. Friend of the podcast, great person and whatnot. Go ahead and look at her film. The way she breaks down defenses and takes what's given to her. And then, obviously, I like Beckham as well, just making plays on the run. I think he could learn a lot from just looking at her film and looking at her patience. She's somebody that looks up to Tom Brady. She's a big Tom Brady Patriots fan. And so, she's somebody that, when it comes to her mindset approaching the game, she's patient with it. And she's lethal. She's a straight up killer on the football field. Because she knows eventually the defense is going to screw up. Or eventually the coaches are going to call the wrong defenses against you. But for now, I'm going to slice you up with all these plays and making the right decisions on early downs. I think that's something that Beckham could definitely look at. So look at Devin Silvestri's film. And then if we're going to look in-state as well, look up Clayton Jacobs from Lutheran High School. He runs that spread very well. There's a lot of times where he senses the, pocket collapsing and whatnot, and then he just gets the ball out. Doesn't have to scramble right or left or whatever, just gets the ball out, conserve that energy for down the road, down in later in those games, that could be a little bit tougher. And so I would say straight up, Clayton Jacobs, Devin Silvestri, look both of those players up. Excellent football players, and I think he could definitely get better. So, Kodey, is there any homework you want to assign him here?
Get that agility up. I know that scrambling isn't your game, and I know that you're still kind of getting used to those multiple growth spurts that were kind of stacked one on the other. But honestly, speaking of Clayton Jacobs, he's a guy who, I would define Clayton Jacobs as a pocket passer, but he's also a quarterback who can hurdle safeties. So, get that agility up and get that explosiveness up, because I think that part of the reason that he's not a big-time scrambler is, his 0 to 60 isn't fast. So, being able to reach that top speed quicker, that's going to go a long way for Beckham here.
Yep. And then, last but not least, I just want to say this, definitely work on some of those medium throws. Like, I would say 20 to 35 range, because moving forward into next year, teams know you could throw it downfield and dot them up. They know that. So they're going to run cover 3, they're going to run cover 4, and they're going to prevent those big plays. If you could come out next year and be that type of guy that can not only slice it up on those early downs, but when you need on third downs, you can't go deep and they're covering short, go ahead and hit them with those medium throws here. Be lethal. And I'm meaning like accuracy and timing. Like, that has to be on point with those medium throws. And so definitely work on those as well, because I think that will unlock a whole new level to his game as well, if you could really be a truly just lethal passer here. So yeah. Anything else you want to say, Kodey, as we kind of transition to DJ's game here?
Follow Beckham at Stretch2025 on Twitter. Shout him out. Friend of the podcast. Congratulations to him winning the MVP for the QB group at the NPS in Vegas, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
And just looking forward to the growth that he has this game. And also, gosh dang, Simon, there's a first time for everything. And live film breakdown of QBs, man, with two of us. It eats up time. So thank you, fans, for sticking it out with us. I'm still going to give detailed analysis here with DJ, but I won't repeat things that Simon says as much either. So
yeah. And then lastly on Beckham, congrats on getting your offer to CU Boulder. So there you go. Yeah, there's a lot more to come. I know he also took a visit to Texas. We won't talk about Outlook. We're just going to see how this works out moving forward. I think we'll talk more Outlook with DJ here, though. And then also, Beckham, he's a high school quarterback. So obviously we evaluate high school quarterbacks a little bit differently from middle school quarterbacks. So just going to throw that out there. But we're going to go ahead and talk about DJ Bordeaux, one of his boys out here, an 8th grader. Going into next year, he will be going to Thunderridge. That is basically a done deal. So there you go there. Talking about last year, Kodey, I did this episode on my own. This is episode 18, the request edition 2. DJ Bordeaux, he was at the end here. Broke down Zay Wodark's film, broke down Sean Kidd. Shout out to the homie Sean Kidd. Hope you're doing well over at Garden City, my guy. And then broke down Chase Silva's film, quarterback from Skyline. Who's that? He took my advice, won JUCO as well. Oh, and then our homie Brick Hartson as well, that Kodey met at a high school game. So shout out to all these guys. Yeah, we're pretty close with a lot of these guys on this list here. And then obviously you got DJ Bordeaux here. So if you want to go ahead and fact check me, go for it. But as you can see here, I only took 13 minutes looking at this to break down his film. So I didn't go too much into detail here as I will tonight. But talking about DJ, I praised his natural athletic ability. He's a true dual threat quarterback. Strong arm, very naturally strong arm that could fit into some pretty tight spots. And then he could break off some home run scrambles as well, like 50-plus yard touchdown runs, 100-plus yard touchdown runs. He's a threat to do that. If you're a defensive coordinator and you're expecting him to not run, you're not doing your job right. So there you go. So that's just I said it was special. I said, it's rare that you find a quarterback with just this much athletic God-given gifts, honestly. because he does have a lot of those, and I just abilities that I haven't seen since like the likes of Kyler Murray back in the day, if I'm being completely honest, as far as dual threat like natural ability goes. Now, and that's basically most of what I praised him for. Like I just said, he's a very good quarterback that could fit into some tight windows, has potential to take it, 100 yards. He's a bigger kid as well. He could run over a lot of guys, and so he's somebody that could fit into a lot of systems. Whether you want to use him as a running quarterback, throwing quarterback, RPO, spread, whatever, he could fit into a lot of molds there. Now, things that he needs to improve on. I said he needs to engage his hips and abs better when he's throwing, especially when he's trying to gun throws into some pretty tight spots. I think there are definitely times he didn't have his, feet set and whatnot, and then that meant he couldn't activate his abs and hips. And so that's something I wanted to see. I also said I want to see his hips actually flip when he's throwing on the run, at least, because there are definitely some times where he doesn't do that, and, it takes off a little bit of power on his throws. Said I wanted to see him, this is the biggest one, arguably, but I wanted to see him turn into a pass-first quarterback with his eyes down the field more often, because I did say you could kind of tell when he's set on running the ball. I mean, he's outside the pocket 90% of the time, in my opinion. I felt like he was going to run it. So there you go. I wanted to see him turn into more of a pass-first type of guy. Then I said this is the last thing, I wanted to see him master the slant route, out route, and comeback routes. If he could do those things, he's going to develop as a passer, get better, be more of a pass-first quarterback. And honestly, I mean, I said he needed to go to like throw. When it's third down, second down, or whatever, just whatever throughout the game. He needs to have some go-to throws to go to. And I felt like if he could develop those throws, then he could be very good. Kodey, what do you think about that evaluation of my evaluation of DJ Bordeaux? Plus, this is your opportunity to add in all of your opinions about him, since you didn't get to say so on the episode.
Yeah, obviously. I watched this film after watching your breakdown, and I agreed with a lot of the things that you said. And then, getting to watch that tournament or event that he went to down in Texas. The off season after this, but before this season, this most recent season, you could see a lot of growth there, and that was my first time really, really looking at his film. And man, he could fit it into some tight windows, and you could tell that he has a lot of faith in his arm. And so, that was something to definitely keep an eye on heading into the season: is how much faith does he have in his arm, and will it be a good or bad thing kind of looking forward.
Is that it?
Well, I mean, like I said, everything that you said, don't want to repeat too much, but what an athlete, obviously. I mean, we're going to see on this highlight reel a clip that made the news. So I'm just excited to watch this year and evaluate it.
Boom. All right. Well, there you go. Before we do hop into his highlights here, first off, go ahead and give him a follow on YouTube. Here, let me move this over. At DJ Bordeaux here. But I'm going to go ahead and read off his stats. Now, I'm just going to be honest, it's middle school, so it was a little tough getting these stats together, but shout out to his pops and whatnot for getting it down as accurate as possible. But in 10 total games, he had 227 pass attempts, and he threw for 32 passing touchdowns, to only 4 interceptions, had a completion percentage of 68%. As far as rushing touchdowns went, he rushed for 10 touchdowns. On offense, he accounted for basically 252 out of their 274 total points scored on the season. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's obviously the majority, probably 80-90, if I'm being honest there. Couldn't calculate all the yards because they did play like 4 games on some soccer fields or whatever, but estimated in total, had about 2,500 total yards plus between passing and rushing.
That's 92%.
Boom, there you go. So, obviously, he was powering this Aurora Spartans team. By the way, go ahead and check out those episodes. Those are on our weekly recap, so if you just go through those, you can find me talking about them. Because I was able to go to basically every single DJ Bordeaux game this season, except for 1 or 2 games. Other than that, I was there. So I saw this quarterback play the most out of all quarterbacks in the entire state. So I think I would know what I'm talking about here when it comes to DJ Bordeaux here. But, we're going to go ahead and watch this highlight reel here, react to some of this, some of the greatness that is on here. And then we'll hop into our film breakdown, making comments as you go. Kodey, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, at 0-0, 3, 2, 1, go. Also, I haven't muted because I don't know if Twitch is going to copyright me or what, but all right, here's the play.
Yep, this is
off the season.
What you open with. Yeah!
Oh my
dude.
God.
How do you go back to your homies on the sideline after that was just done to you by a QB? But anyways.
Just find a way to get it done.
Evading the pressure, dot.
Mm-hmm. Good catch, too. All right, here.
Leaf flicker.
Great
and
timing.
Arm power.
Yeah.
Right on the money.
He was kind of leaning back there, too. He didn't get to quite set. So that's just a pure athletic throw.
Roll out.
Throwing it on the run here.
And
on the money, too.
Nice. Wide receiver can catch it and then turn upfield. Doesn't have to slow down. You like to see that. This is at Arapahoe, right?
Yep. That was their little championship game.
This one off the back foot. Receiver makes a great play on that, but I'm not in love with it. That's a great throw right there, right by the sideline. Saw that one live. Powell. Pump fake. Looks to one side of the field, goes to the other. Opens up that
hey,
wide receiver.
Kodey, sorry.
Open.
1 sec. Pause it at 118. I'm going to go ahead and miniaturize this just a little bit here because I realize it's cutting off parts of the video here. All right, there you go. Hopefully we could see more of the play. All right, ready? 118?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. Just wanted to make sure you could see the whole thing here. Oh, this was nice.
That's sweet.
Perfect.
That's sweet.
Way to keep your eyes downfield. That's perfect. That's what I'm talking about.
Bang.
There you go. God, his deep throws are special. They're special.
Yeah.
Straight up. And it's so effortless, too.
Great pickup by that running back. Goes out to his left. Oh.
Live, it didn't look as bad. I'm going to be honest with you. But that was the right decision. Just push it towards the sideline, you know?
Yeah.
Scramble ability.
Oh my gosh.
Casually throws him away. Okay, they said he stepped out, but I'm pretty sure he didn't. So, just going to throw that out there. Nice. Good throw and catch.
Scramble ability. Cornerbacks losing their angles.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, dude. If
Simon
gets an
already
open
said
lane, he's out of there.
We do look at middle school players a little bit differently, so just keep that in mind. But also at the same time, I'm going to be thinking of how these plays might look on the high school level as well, from time to time. Otherwise, he'd end up with almost 100.
I'm not too... This was a little late, but
Yeah,
also if he pushed it, that safety might have been able to make a play, so... This one was
a
definitely
little shy.
late. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just push it down the field, but that's
But
okay.
more timing than anything.
Oh, nice.
That's sweet.
Great throw right here.
Yep. Oh, snap. It's Hoodie DJ.
Yep. Oh, this is against that Bear Creek squad.
Yep.
Nice job here, sensing that pressure. There you go.
Stiff arm.
That stiff arm is nasty, I'll tell you what. If he's out there, oh my god. Whoa!
Wow.
My god.
Okay.
What a throw.
What a throw.
Shouldn't have made it, probably.
Yeah.
But
you and I are thinking the same thing where it's like, damn it. But like that's one of those as a coach where you're like, oh my god, I can't believe that he can do that because he thinks that he could do it again.
Here, let's go back a little bit here. Go to
Where are you going to?
355. or 354. Actually, 355. All right, so right here, he's definitely looking out this way to his right. Here is my mouse showing. Yep, to his right here. And then he flips, and this is just a very good on-the-money type of throw that I really like. Boom.
Yeah, that's a great decision.
Good placement, too. Yep. Oh, then he's just out of here right here.
Ball gets a little bit away from his body when he starts making some of these moves, which is okay here. But just be careful.
He'll be all right.
Just be careful. He'll be all right.
Nice. Good strike over the middle. This is in the face of pressure. Beautiful. That's an NFL throw. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Oh, that's a good one, too. Here on the run and then kind of back to his left.
Oh, he's...
Man, he's so...
His agility is very underrated, too.
I mean, we haven't rated it yet, so...
Yeah. Nice. He could have let it on a little bit more here, but that's not the worst. It's a good little rhythm throw here. Oh, he's just going to beat towards the outside.
Yeah.
Yo.
Empty set here.
I like it.
Power.
No, he's just going out.
He's just fast enough. Takes 3 defenders to drag him down.
He should tuck that ball.
Way to take your check down.
Yep.
I like this check down here to the left. Let your playmaker make a play in space.
Yeah.
And he does.
Absolutely.
That's the power of check downs, quarterbacks, ladies, gentlemen.
Good vision right there. Did you see that?
Yes,
how he cut in behind his blocker.
Oh. And then just
muscle
muscles some kids. Yep. Oh my God!
This line is
running for
struggling.
his life.
Oh man, they're struggling just a little bit in some of these clips. Oh my God!
It's middle school line. It's somewhat expected. Ooh, carries that defender into the end zone with a good shoulder too. This is a very solid Thunder squad too.
Yeah, they won their Super Bowl.
Any of these clips, yeah.
So obviously
those. So check down there.
It's never a bad thing.
Running back makes a play out of it.
It's designed, but it's not a bad thing. Nice.
Man, these pass catchers were on one. Little behind.
A little bit. The timing fell off.
Timing is the biggest thing that is the biggest critique I have so far looking at the film. And that's honestly, even the timing that it does show, even though it's a little off, it's still serviceable.
Well, yeah.
Even on the next level, even on the high school level, I think it's serviceable. Because when we say next level for DJ, we're talking high school for the most part.
Oh, hold on. 7 minutes. It's a curl route, basically. Here, sorry, 703. Snap slow. But I just want to point out the placement of this ball here. It's a curl route, right? But you want to throw it to this outside because you don't want the defender to get a... You don't want them to be able to make a play on the ball, right?
Well, and it helps your wide receiver if he shakes this defender get upfield too.
Yeah. So here I'm a player.
That defender, if this wide receiver, if this defender doesn't hold on to this wide receiver's jersey right here to make this tackle, then this receiver could easily flip their hips or with a little bit more body control makes this catch right where this ball is put in a spot where only he can catch it and then get upfield too. So. Yes, Simon, I have to echo that this ball placement, as a receiver, this is a dream. This is a dream, is what it is.
That's a good job leading your receiver on. I got to give him credit there. All right, I'm at 7:05. Ready, Kodey?
Hold up. Okay.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
End zone loops.
He's keeping his eyes downfield. That was for you. That's what he said. I keep my eyes downfield for you, Coach B.
That's good.
Because he easily could have walked into the end zone.
Yeah. But that's pass first.
Yep.
Oh, he tried to
look at that gallop! The gallop move.
beautiful.
Yeah.
If it's 101 and he likes the matchup, that's money.
This doesn't even show a lot of the dropped passes from this past year that were also good passes.
Yes.
Right there at the end of this video, IG at _go DJ _ and the exact same thing on Twitter. Excellent branding there. But Simon, knee-jerk reactions here.
Yeah, well, okay, there are some plays here that I wish they put it on here. Kodey, are you good? Okay. I just had you went dark there for a second. All right, so there are definitely some plays here that I wish they put on here because he made a lot of good throws obviously throughout the season. But that fade route, I'm thinking of that fade route in the semifinals that he threw to Juice Savaloya. It was a perfect throw, got the ball, set, threw it to where he wanted it to be. Juice made a play. It was 101. That was a throw that I wish was shown here because he did make a couple really nice throws, especially down the stretch of that season where, he's just dotting it up, showing that, yeah, he's pretty lethal when he's throwing that fade, especially to receivers like Juice or Tanner that he has a very good chemistry with, which I absolutely love. But just in general, I would say DJ Bordeaux definitely impressed this season. In my opinion, going into the season, I kind of viewed him as, okay, he's a really good athlete. Now let's see if he could play quarterback. Let's see, how much he cares, how much work he's willing to put in. And he put in work. Like you said, in that All United States game, which I could play here in a minute here, he made some significant improvements compared to his 7th grade film. And then going into 8th grade, he looked really good. He was looking like a very polished quarterback for the most part here, who's an athletic freak, if I'm being completely honest with you. But Kodey, what do you think about DJ and his season here? Just raw reaction.
I'm looking at my rubric and I'm trying not to. I don't know if I'm going crazy or not. It is where I'm at, just because he's so impressive. It's a little hard to judge this, obviously, because I feel like the talent spread on middle school there's a lot larger of a range than on a varsity football field. So I cannot stress enough to our listeners and attendees of this stream that, it is looked at a little bit differently, and it is a little different to use a rubric, I would say, for middle school players. Am I alone in that, Simon?
No, we're going to do it anyways, but I think just keep that in mind that we're grading based, middle school on middle school talent. So here, I'm going to go ahead, put this on loop. Let's go down the line, rubric-wise. Let's talk about it, right? All right, here, let me extend this. Okay, play that. All right, arm power. Look, he has better arm power than some starting senior quarterbacks for sure. But for right now, and this might be a lot here, like I said, it's middle school talent. Give him an 8.7. I'm that confident in his arm power. Just the way he's look, on a lot of his deep throws, man, it's just so effortless. It's a flick of the wrist, like this one right here on this little flea flicker. It's a flick of the wrist, and then he's throwing it. It's not like he's setting completely, and so that says a lot. Plus his ability to fit into some pretty tight spots. I think right now it's probably in that 8.6, 8.7 range. He could really. Actually, I'm gonna just go with 8.7. He has just a lot of potential there, honestly, and he could have started on a high school team just looking at arm power wise this year. So. Yeah, what do you think about that, though, Kodey?
I gave it an 8.9. No, it looks so easy. I almost gave it a 9. I was almost too overwhelmed here.
Okay.
It's just, he throws a lot of these receivers open because his arm power is just not expected by safeties and cornerbacks on this level a little bit. But, he has the ability to push it that far. And like you said, it's so, even that, throw on the run, that's just the right amount of velocity and touch there. And I'm going to keep this rolling here,
Go ahead.
honestly, with a high rating once again, back-to-back. It'll fall a little bit. I think that DJ's film is a little bit easier to decipher accuracy from timing than other quarterbacks. I don't know why, but he's a very accurate quarterback.
Yeah.
And so, that's the worst example of his accuracy. And you can even argue that that's timing with him throwing on the run.
Yeah.
That's his worst example.
It is
That's
timing.
his worst example. So I'm still giving his arm accuracy a 9. I mean, his throw against that Bear Creek squad over that D lineman who has the arms outstretched, in front of the safety, inside the linebackers, it's a little bit of a wind-up because, he really juices that ball. But that is just... There's not a lot of our senior quarterbacks who can make that throw. There's really not.
Yeah, I'm giving him actually an 8.7, 8.6. I'm gonna rock with an 8.6, actually. I think this is more because of consistency. Like I said, this is the quarterback I watched the most this last season out of any quarterback, period, in Colorado or even the country, He could definitely put it on the money. There's no doubt about that. But there are times where, he sailed some throws or, he's gunning it just a little bit too much. And, look, consistency matters. So I'm going to go ahead and give him an 8.6 here. But, yeah, he definitely can't put it on the money here. Look, anything above an 8.5 is a 4-star rating for a high school quarterback. So I'm just keeping that in mind. Now, timing-wise, Kodey, you did mention that it was easier to, differentiate between timing and accuracy. I think his timing on throws, oh my god, it has a lot of potential. It's either really, really good or sometimes he's just late. And I feel like almost a lot of the time it's just really late. He's waiting a little bit too much and then he's kind of compensating, kind of aiming it and stuff like that to make up for the timing. But bad timing is just bad timing. I think he could do a little bit better here, and that kind of ties into his decision-making, which I'll talk about later. But for now, I'm going to be a little tough here and actually give him a 6.5 because I just need to see consistency. That's probably one of my biggest concerns with DJ's game here when it comes to timing on throws. It needs to be a little bit more consistent. I could go up a little bit. I'll go flat 7. What about you though, Kodey?
I'm right in that ballpark. I'm at a 7.2.
Okay.
Because sometimes, right there, that timing's really good. But it's the little things that are going to add up really fast on the high school level. It's putting it where the receiver's arms are and not where their bodies are, which he does do from time to time. He shows great flashes of timing, but it is the most inconsistent part of his game, I would probably say.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go down here just a little bit. I know I'm going back and forth, but that's just how these goes. I'm going to give him a 6.7, actually.
As the video goes, the scores change.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
He could do better. I know he can. I've seen him throw with excellent timing. But honestly, if I'm looking back at some of his games, can I say that he threw with excellent timing, throughout an entire game, completely, first through fourth quarter? I can't necessarily say that. So that's kind of just where I'm at consistency-wise. So there you go. Mechanics and fluidity. I am extremely impressed with how far he has come with his mechanics and fluidity. I'm going to give him a lot of praise here because, just watching him train as well, it's automatic. It's just automatic. It has a pretty smooth release here for the most part.
Engages his body when he throws. It's it's very, very evident, and it's very, very emphasized. And that's what you see, because sometimes what may seem exaggerated to you is great practice for, when you're in a position where you can't necessarily do all the mechanical stuff right. It goes a long way for those tough throws.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I got to praise his footwork. His footwork is top tier, I would say. Just looking at this as well. Just consistency. I love it. Honestly, as far as mechanics go, I don't know. you could nitpick here and there, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and actually give him a 9 because it is better than a lot of quarterbacks. Like, there are some quarterbacks, especially some seniors here in Colorado, that I watch. I don't mean to call them out specifically. I'm just watching their footwork and, like, their time, or not their timing, just their footwork in the releases, and it's not as good as DJ's, straight up. Whether it's on the run or in the pocket, by the way. And so I'm going to give him a solid 9 here. I don't think there's too much he needs to really work on here. Not too much. I mean, obviously, there's always room for improvement. I think just from here on out, it's just consistency. Like, it should be like clockwork from here on out. He shouldn't regress as far as mechanics and fluidity goes. But, Kodey, what's your grade for DJ here for that?
I'm going to go just a little bit lower at an 8.5. And the only reason for that is because his feet do end up a little flat on some of his releases, especially when he needs a little bit more extra arm power. I mean, you saw that throw against that Bear Creek team, which, is a great throw, very accurate, lots of power, but you can see it's kind of that Cam Newton level where it's like it's almost like a baseball kind of wind-up for that needs a little bit extra velocity. And I mean, it makes the throw, but, as the mechanics improve and stuff, and you want to be able to make that throw anytime, and you want to be able to make that throw consistently, then you're just going to have to iron those out and just speed it up, basically, is kind of where I'm at with that.
Fair enough.
Just consistency and speeding up those high-velocity throws. But 8 point, like you said, he's just very fundamentally sound.
Yeah. I'm gonna shave a little bit off and go 8.8. But did you want to talk decision-making, or did you want to let me do that? Either way.
I can do decision-making. This was my lowest grade for DJ here.
Mm-hmm.
It just... sometimes, he does take those dump-offs, but, sometimes I think he's another guy you could benefit from. Take what the defense gives you. Or, he knows how good his arm is, and that can go into his head a little bit here with decision-making, I think. That's kind of just my take on it. And, I'm going to go up a little bit from where I was at. But I'm going to go like a 6.6 here. I'm eager to see how his decision-making translates. He puts in a spot where the receiver can come back to it, but I don't know if I would make that throw against that team with the orange helmets kind of thing. You know what I mean? So just little things like that, and how will it translate to the high school level is kind of how I'm looking at that a little bit. So that's one of my harsher categories here is that that decision-making skill.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I got to see him the most, so this is probably a reflection of that, of how critical I am with it. I think his decision-making skills are about average right now, which isn't bad for an 8th grader who, is running a spread offense for, like, the first time ever, Plus, by the way, it's not like he has a ton of quarterback experience as is. I think he's only been playing it for like a couple years compared to some who've been playing it forever. So I'm going to have to give him a 6.4 here. And, I'll talk about it right now, actually. I think there are definitely times where, more so than Beckham for sure, though, he's looking for, like, a splash play, whether it's running it or passing it. And so I think there are definitely times he holds the ball too much, especially early downs. If it's first and second down, in my opinion, when you're running a spread, get the ball out of your hand. You shouldn't be holding it for more than 3 seconds unless you're trying to take a shot on first down and just test the defense and whatnot. That's probably the only, that's the only, excuse I would have for not holding it for longer than 3 seconds. Other than that, for the most part, hey, let's get going, Let's get the drive going. You don't need to take a shot unless, you really don't need to take a shot too many times. Hey, get the ball out of your hands, let your playmakers work, When you're running a spread offense, there's a reason you run it. You run it because you have athletes all over the place. Let your athletes be athletes, man. We know you're an athlete too. That's great. But sometimes the best throw you can make is the short one. A lot of the time it is, because, methodically speaking, I would say when you're on defense and you're playing a quarterback like DJ, you could kind of counter, that deep play mentality a little bit easier. But when you have a quarterback who is patient and is not in a rush to make a big play, that hurts. Because not only that you know that they're patient and they're just waiting for you to mess up, you also know that they could hit you with a big play at any time and just out like muscle you and out athletic you and just make a big play because they're just that much better of a football player. But I think to add another like dimension to his game, he needs to get a little bit more patient here and have a little bit more, I would say, situational awareness, especially on those early downs. Don't be in third and long situations. There are a lot of times, and I know his line struggled at times because of their health and this and that, but I think there are definitely times where, there are a lot of third and long situations that could have been avoided throughout the entire season if you go game by game. Like I said, completion on every throw is probably what you want to go for, at least on every first and second down, or first down is what you want to go for. Find the easy completion. Like, read the defense, know what they're running, dump it off to your guy. You're running a spread, so someone should almost always be open. If they're not open, then look to somebody else. If they're not open, take off and run, and then get out of bounds or slide or whatever, right? So I think he could definitely kind of clean up that decision-making a little bit more here. Like I said, I'm going to give him credit, though, because it's not like he's ran this offense before Texas, really. Other than that, he was mostly used as a running type of quarterback and then some very basic concepts here. And so he's still developing, and he's a middle schooler. And so this is kind of where I would expect him to be at. I would just say this, there are some middle school quarterbacks that I feel like are maybe a little bit better as far as patience and decision-making goes. But overall, they're kind of at this level. And so that's just what I have to say. I think, if he just learn situational awareness. You don't have to make a big play all the time. Just move the sticks. 5 yards to throw. 5 yards to throw. Every 2 throws, that's a first down. And keep it going until eventually the defense screws up and thinks that you're a little bit too passive, and then you kill them with a long bomb. Straight up. But other than that, there are more than one ways to kill. I'm just going to say that. Scramble ability, though. Let's keep it going. I mean, shoot.
At least. Are you kidding me?
What'd you say?
I said 9 at least.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Anything? I mean, Simon, if you have it below a 9, it's blasphemous. I'm gonna just say that.
Okay. Well, here. I'm just gonna say, agility-wise, he could get a little bit, quicker in between the tackles, so he doesn't have to take as many hits. But yeah, I would give him a 9.
I mean,
do we really
that's
need
why
to
it's a 9
explain it?
flat.
Yeah,
is because he could do a little bit more with his ankles, but also it's really hard to. I mean, look, his opening play is that hurdle over, I mean, look, the middle school talent is wide, right? We talked about that range, but it is a safety, and a safety is still one of the more athletic kids on the field for this age group, and he still manages to just whoop. So, and he still does bust a move sometimes. I think part of it is just he has a lot of faith in his size, especially against this competition. He's going to want to be more finesseful on the next level.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't doubt that he can.
Yeah.
And,
all right.
And from what I've seen recently, he looks like a nimble build. Plus, watching his basketball film kind of gives me encouragement as well. But anyways,
fair enough.
Not a lot to talk about there.
Yeah. You want to talk about his throw on the run
ability?
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Tony.
So his throw on the run is really good. He's able to dot people up, and I'm watching this more and more. He doesn't always kind of, you can see that he puts in an effort a lot of the time to square up to his receivers, but he doesn't do it all of the time. So I think that his throw on the run, I think that his upside and potential for throw on the run is incredibly high. I just want to see more consistency. I'm kind of bouncing around here from play to play as it plays, and I think I'm around a 7 point. I'm going to go a 7.4 here on his throw on the run because I think he can obviously push it down the field. He can obviously make some of these tight windows, but his technique does slip, I'd say, a lot more than, per se, Beckham's does. And he doesn't square up as consistently as Beckham does when throwing on the run.
Fair enough. I'm giving him an 8.1, and I'm pretty solid with that. I mean,
I can see it.
When he did throw on the run, when I watched him, I mean, I never doubted that he was not going to make the throw. I can't really think of many times where he rolled out and then he missed the open throw, And so that's why I'm giving him an 8.1. It could be even higher. Like I was thinking maybe closer to Beckham's at 8.4, 8.5. But I'll go 8.1 right now. I think, continue to make sure hips are getting flipped and whatnot. And I think, especially when he's throwing on the run, his accuracy could be a little bit better with that as well. Just a little bit, And so that's where I'm at. But I would say it's pretty close to Beckham's, though, with a lot of upside because I do think DJ has a little bit more zing to some of his throws as well. So there you go. All right, pocket awareness, movement. I got to see plenty of this. Awareness. He never got smacked in the back of the head because he didn't sense the pressure. He actually does a really good job there. I'm going to go ahead and put him on par with Beckham at an 8.5. Now, there are times where I feel like he is sensing the pressure, but he wants to stick in and make a big play, instead of taking a dump off and whatnot. And so that's why it's an 8.5. Pocket movement, though, could definitely be better. Look, it's not like his line gave him plenty of opportunities to move in the pocket, so I'm throwing that out there right now because I can't think of many games where he was able to move up in a pocket at all, and so that probably means it didn't happen. It barely happened, in his season, and so, but I did see some film of him working on it from his preseason, and then I think that all United States game, there were some very good instances where, he steps up, gives him a nice strike. I'm thinking of a preseason game highlight where he does exactly that. The ball is snapped to him. He does a good job stepping up, climbing the pocket, and then he throws an absolute strike into the end zone for a touchdown. And so for that, I know he could do it, but I just didn't see a lot of it, and so that kind of falls under consistency and whatnot. So I'm just going to give him a 7 for now. There's upside here, though, so don't get it twisted, What about you?
So, oddly enough, I also gave DJ the same score as Beckham on my level for pocket awareness, which was an 8.1. It's like that they are taught by a similar quarterback coach or something who's pretty good at teaching pocket awareness. But anyways, for pocket movement, I was pretty tough on this one. I did give it a 6.3. Like you said, Simon, there weren't a whole lot of opportunities to step up, so I do consider that a little bit, but it's hard when the instances are far and few in between. Like you said, there's that preseason, there's Texas, but then not being able to practice it for an entire season in pads, that's tough. That's really tough. And so I'm kind of in a based off of the pocket awareness and the way that he's able to move laterally, that's a huge part of his score. I think that he moves laterally and moves his pocket as well as he can. There's instances where the pocket gets blown out from the middle and he moves right, and then there's kind of a new pocket right there to the right based off of the lineman kind of swinging that way. So I think that he can kind of move a pocket or create a new one in a different spot, which is obviously very good and mature. But sometimes it's just out of necessity, oh my god, here's a rush. Mm-hmm. And, you can see that a little bit. So I do penalize him a little bit for that, but I could be more harsh, but I'm not going to count him out simply because, he's super athletic, and I think that, his footwork, he has all the tools needed to step up in the pocket is what I should say. And now it's just a matter of seeing it once he's provided with the opportunities to step up in the pocket. So that's why I have it at a 6.3.
Yeah, I'm going to move down just a little bit to a 6.6. You're right. I know he could do it, though. It's not like he just could only scramble right or left. But it could definitely be improved on. He can manipulate it. He hasn't manipulated it. We just need to see him do it first. But, yeah, so I think that's fair, though, Right, Kodey?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk frame. I hate... I usually put my phone on silent, so I'm not getting text messages, and I don't want to go ahead and look through it right now. But I believe DJ right now is at least 6'3". At least. So 6'3".
Around there.
Is listed at 185 or so. I could believe it for sure. Definitely, probably maybe 180 ish, maybe on the lower end. But There's no doubt about it. I wouldn't be surprised if he's bigger than that too, because he's like he's a built quarterback, and he's really just started doing more complicated weight training stuff now over at EPO. Shout out to Coach Travis out there, our guy. But he has a really good frame right now at 6'3", 180, 185. I mean, that's better than a lot of our seniors because he's taller than them. But he also weighs a bit more too, and so I'm actually pretty confident giving him a good let's go 8 We'll go 8.8. Well, no, actually, let's go 8.7. I mean, I think goal-wise, if you could get to 200 pounds, no matter what his height is, that'll be great. But also, I know he's growing, and he's actually probably due for another growth spurt. So there's a good chance by the time he gets to Thunderridge, he's going to be 6'4". So there you go. But for now, I'll give him an 8.7. I think, he has a very good frame. That's the least of my concerns, honestly. That's just the least of my concerns, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not concerned about that at all. But, Kodey, what do you think?
My dude said least of my concerns, and it's not one of my concerns, and I'm not concerned about it. We understand, Coach B.
All right, well, get on with your reading. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I give him an 8.5. It's right near my AJ Jackson frame, basically, rating. He's just a little bit taller than AJ, but he weighs a little bit less. So that's kind of where that comes from. And so overall, Simon, I don't know if you want to pull up my sheet here, but I'm fine to talk my overall rating here. DJ Bordeaux, as it stands right now, as a middle schooler, mind you, so, heading into high school, I have him rated at a 79.5 here. This is against middle school talent. Don't be like, oh my gosh, they already think DJ's better quarterback than Beckham, even though he hasn't played high school football. How are you going to judge that? Don't be abrasive about it. Look at it for the individual categories here, and DJ knows exactly what he needs to work on. And, the things that I pointed out that he needs to work on are the things that I think will be more exposed either in a high school setting, such as his timing on throws. I rated that a little bit weaker because I think that you could end up with some throws that, maybe aren't quite on the money and then turn into, a little bit bigger of a deal than they were on the middle school level. His decision-making skills, I think that's something that's, going to be a little bit of a learning curve on the high school level a little bit. And, his pocket movement, that's just something that's not as proven. So, all of these things, those are the things that I really am looking more forward to and graded a little bit harsh. But as far as a raw, well, I mean, he's not even raw, I wouldn't say, just because he's so fundamentally sound. But as an athlete and as a build and as a football player, there's not a lot to dislike here about DJ Bordeaux. At the end of the day, he is a quarterback who I think is going to step in and, help this Thunderridge team get back-to-back winning record seasons. And I know he's hungry looking at that league too. And, there's some interesting takes around the state as far as that league and that conference and kind of what it may look like. And there's some people expecting it to look a little different. And I know that DJ wants to be a part of that. So I got to respect the ambition. I got to respect the drive and the natural talent. He's already working in some 7-on-7 situations here with this Thunderridge team. But ultimately, we'll see. But I'm very excited for DJ. I'm really high on him heading into high school.
Fair enough. All right. I wasn't too far off. He was rated a little bit higher here. Let me look at your grade real quick. So you had Beckham rated just slightly higher by literally 0.8. Oh my gosh, how come it's not centering? By literally 0.8. I had him at a 75. I had DJ at about an 80.1. Here's the thing. I think DJ's a better athlete than Beckham right now. But just because you're a better athlete doesn't make you into a better quarterback. Now, there is the overall grade here. But, DJ is playing middle school talent. Beckham played seniors and juniors, and he played varsity football. And so I'm sure...
5 seniors of their position.
Yes.
Times in his own league.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And so I'm sure if Beckham played middle school talent too, he would be up 10 points at least with some of these probably. Maybe not that big of a difference, but he'd be a lot closer to DJ here. But I think the thing that really separates Beckham from DJ, timing right here. Look, 7.6 for Beckham, 6.7 for DJ. Needs to get better. Needs to be more consistent. I wouldn't say better. I know he could throw with great timing, but, that kind of gets tied in with decision-making skills. I have Beckham at a solid 8 because I know he could probably go to a lot of colleges, and be able to understand those concepts. Right now, that's a 6.4 for DJ. I think DJ's still growing as a player, as a person and whatnot, and so I'm not super concerned about that because we could see a pretty big leap here between his 8th grade and high school, film, obviously. And then, lastly, I would say pocket movement. Not pocket movement. What was I thinking here? Oh, no, that's basically, I think pocket movement and awareness, they're the same, relatively for the most part, But also, his frame does help DJ out a lot more. And so he is, a bigger athlete and whatnot, somebody who could be a little bit more versatile. Like, I could see DJ probably averaging a cool 50 rushing yards a game at least on the next level because he is that kind of athlete, but maybe not as many passing yards as Beckham, right? Because he doesn't quite understand the ins and outs of a spread offense quite like Beckham right now. And so don't get it twisted. If it was to come down to it and I had to start one of them in my spread offense, I'm starting Beckham because he has varsity experience. That's a no-brainer. So that's just grades aside here. But I think this definitely speaks to the potential of DJ Bordeaux. He could be one of the best in the country. 5-star, 4-star, whatever. Or, if he doesn't put in some of that work, even right now, he'd probably be a 3-star just based off of his talent. And so I would definitely still recommend DJ, obviously working hard. I mean, I'm not really doubting that, but just learning the game, being a student of the game, learning from quarterbacks like Beckham Kritsa, like Austin Wojcicki, all over at EPO, who played as freshmen, who know what it's like playing 5A talent, by the way, and it's not like it's, easy or whatever doing that. That's definitely tough, and so I would obviously recommend him to continue to talk to those guys and just learn the ins and outs of those offenses, and situationally as well. I think situationally is where I really want to see DJ improve here, especially on early downs. Don't get in too many 3rd and long situations. At best, really, here's my expectations with DJ here. When it comes to 3rd and long situations, you should maybe find yourselves in 2 or 3 of them against really good teams. Maybe. And then that's when you make a play. That's when you make a play, either running it or throwing it, right? But other than that, you got to be a little bit more efficient here. Like I said with Beckham Kritsa, I would recommend watching a lot of Devin Silvestri film. She is the queen of putting her team and offense in great positions. Straight up. Whether it's a big play or a play that's supposed to set up another one, Not every play needs to be a touchdown. Not every play needs to be 10-plus yards, Sometimes you got to make a play to set up the next one, right? And so forth and so forth. And so with DJ here, I just really want to see him work on that patience and just being comfortable and knowing, like, hey, 4 or 5 receivers, all of them are playmakers. Perfect. Let me trust my guys here a little bit here as well. Let me trust my line a little bit more here as well. And then let me just make these quick plays here and set up the next either scoring play or scoring drive. I would definitely say when it comes to DJ here, decision making is huge. Like I said, I'm not super concerned about it, but, that's the difference between starters on varsity and JV. But, Kodey, what do you think about that?
I agree with everything you said. And, I will just comment. I think that he's waltzing into a fantastic situation here at Thunderridge. I think that it's a great fit. You saw what they were able to accomplish with Seth Frazier, another guy who, was pretty athletic and made plays with his legs. And so I think that, a lot of those guys who are a part of that offense this last year, some of those underclassmen, they're going to have that comfortability running this offense this next year. DJ is going to have comfortability, where they're going to use him to his strengths. They're going to play to his strengths in this offense, and they're also going to trust him, at times to really do that and to make plays. And they have guys who are going to help, I think, develop certain parts of his game if he wins that varsity starting job. Of course, I'm not saying anything for sure, but I look at Okuno over there. He's a very speedy slot receiver, but he runs very precise short routes. And I think that he's a great security check down blanket where it's like, if I throw it to Okuno in the flats at my own 19-yard line, there's a chance he can score off of it. And obviously shout out to Okuno and shout out to Glovework for putting us on him and, keeping our eyes out for him at TFG and whatnot. But, that's little things like that are going to help add up and help develop DJ Bordeaux into what I think could be a generational talent, especially here at Colorado. And oh my gosh, I feel so blessed that both DJ and Beckham are here in Colorado because, it's really easy for this state to lose quarterbacks, and it's very frustrating, but we have two of the best of their class in the entire country here in DJ and Beckham.
There's no doubt about it. Honestly, I'm just going to be real. If DJ and Beckham, I would say DJ a little bit more because he has some of that upside athletically. If DJ figures it out, and gets himself in the right mindset, really truly masters this offense, he could be a lethal quarterback. Not only on the high school level, but probably the college level, and maybe even the next one after that. But there's a lot of ifs there, and there's a lot of he has to do this and that, and so this is where the work starts, right? This is where the hard work starts. I know both of these guys are going to probably take this to heart and work hard at the things we talked about, and that's what separates them from other players and quarterbacks. There are a lot of players who don't like what we have to say about their critique, and they just be acting like we just excuse my language, but they just be acting like we grade them the way we do because we just want to talk shit. At the end of the day, I'm giving you this grade because you didn't show me enough, or you showed me enough. But most of the time you don't show me enough because you are a high schooler, you're growing, you're not a pro, you're not a college athlete yet, and to be honest, I would keep that same mindset until you reach the goals that you want. But for now, next step for DJ, competing for that varsity spot, right? So we'll keep it there. And then with Beckham, next step for him, getting better, Really, like I said, some of these defenses he played, he probably should have stomped on just a little bit more here. And so I think working on some of these things, just tightening up that game. At this point, it's really just mental game, right, Kodey? For both of these guys, I would say.
Yeah, just adjusting to that next level of football. And I know that they're both capable of it. And I know I have a lot of faith in, obviously, that Fairview coaching staff. I have a lot of faith in that Thunderridge coaching staff. They've been a very consistent program. We've talked about them plenty, but 2 years ago during that COVID year, that was an anomaly. As far back as I can remember, they've been very consistent. I think that, Thunderridge gives a great chance for DJ to play with an incredible defense as well. That's a school that usually has a pretty reputable defense. And Fairview, they're known for having that, gun it out, spread them out, and dice them up offense. And, each of these players, I have full faith that they're going to continue to get better with the resources at the schools as well as the ones that they're utilizing outside of the schools at EPO. Shout out to them. Simon, is there anything else to add on before we do an outro here and release? Thank you to our loyal listeners and watchers, I guess, our audience. That's the general word, who've stuck with us for 2.5 hours now. This is our first time doing live film breakdowns. You could tell that we kind of got the hang of it on the DJ one. But I think at the end of the day, both these players got very fair and very honest takes, and this is something that we're looking to do more in the future as far as live breakdowns, and it will be cleaned up and a little bit better.
I'm going to be honest. When it comes to film breakdowns, I think we both take a lot of pride in it, and we're not going to cut corners. If it does go a little bit longer, you can always check back. It's on YouTube and Twitch, by the way, at Playmakers Corner. And so, that's up to you. But as far as film breakdowns, we take it seriously. right? We take it seriously because we want to help athletes. We're not just doing it for clout because who cares, you know? Like, honestly, like, who cares if they have all these problems and then it's exposed next season, right? And so that's why we do this. We do it to help the kids. And as long as we need to. That's just my mindset with these film breakdowns. And Kodey, very good job as well. I mean, for both of us, really, because we're sticking in it here. We haven't had our dinner yet. But no, I don't have too much more to say here. I think just one last thing I want to say. This applies to both Beckham and DJ. You know, it's not always – you play quarterback to build a drive and to give your team opportunities to score. You know, you don't play to score a bunch of touchdowns, obviously, and y'all know that. But I think just make sure you have that mindset, you know, when you're approaching the game, because you want to put your offense and get in good situations and give them opportunities to score. That's why you play quarterback. That's your job. Put them into opportunities to score, first and foremost, you know. So yeah. Kodey, any last words before I wrap this up? Or you can wrap it up. You got it as well.
Yes. I was about to say, I'm low-key typing out the outro here in the chat. Just thanking everyone for tuning in. And don't forget to follow us on social media. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all those. You can just look up Playmakers Corner. You'll find us. PMC fam, you already know. Then obviously follow us here on Twitch. You know, getting partnered on here would mean a lot to us and a lot to the cause for these high school athletes, just so that we can dedicate more time and effort to them. Let's see here. YouTube, obviously, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Shout out to Coach V, who has been uploading these Twitch streams there. Shout out to Coach V in general. He does a lot of work here. This is his full-time job, and this is my second part-time job here. But we make it work here, and we appreciate our audience here, obviously, tuning in on this Twitch. And for our podcast audience, if you're listening to this on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, if you're not following us on there or subscribe to us on whatever podcast streaming service, go ahead and do that so you get notifications for all of our episodes as they come out. Man, these outros. Man, if a new social media platform comes out, that is going to be a struggle. But anyways, I have been your host, one of your hosts here, Kodey Stauffer.
And I'm the other one, Coach V. And that's basically it. Next week, women's flag football. Support it. We'll be there. We're covering it these first 2 weeks, I guess. So, peace.